Then we need to have like a picture of a bug.
Okay, I hope everybody had a good weekend. This is the workshop in preparation of our regularly scheduled meeting for November 8th. Today's November 7th, 10 a.m. We'll have a few stragglers be making their way. I saw some downstairs too. There's agendas on the table. There's a sign-in. Again, this meeting is being recorded. We'll be live streamed and live on YouTube in an hour or two. So if you are speaking, or if you're called upon to speak or answer, please make sure you state your name and who you represent or where you're from clearly, so that we can pick it up on, one of the microphones. Mauro, we're gonna skip the beginning of the agenda. Okay. We have the Honorable Judge Gene Lucci from the Court of Appeals is with us here today, and he has, an issue that, he wants to bring to our attention, for the majority of the Board of Commissioners. Very good. Judge, would you like me to stand? And, just approach the table next to Martha would be fine. Okay. That way we can pick you up.
I won't fight Mark.
I know.
I'm Judge Gene Lucci from the 11th District Court of Appeals, just down the street. I'm new to this bench. I was a common pleas judge in Lake County for 23 years. My court has placed me in charge of security, and as part of the rules of superintendents, the court is required to have a security committee. It's a mandate. And those on the security, and this would be to advise the judges. The judges ultimately have to make all decisions dealing with court security, and everything that they do is exempt from public disclosure. Any plans, the manual, any advice given by the members of the advisory committee. Composition of the advisory committee would be a couple of the judges. It would be President of the Board of Commissioners, the funding authority, or his or her designee, sheriff or sheriff's designee, Warren PD chief or designee, designee from the prosecutor's office, the EMA director, possibly somebody from telecommunications, and all of these individuals will meet initially, review the court's security and emergency preparedness manual, and give any advice, criticisms, suggestions for changes to it. So I'm asking that the Board of Commissioners formally designate someone to be on this court security committee for the 11th District.
Now, what, do you see any glaring needs right away that you think you're gonna need, or is it a funding thing, do you think, or is it just an oversight?
Well, initially, just an oversight. However, there are funding issues with it that have been pointed out years ago by the Supreme Court, and no action was taken on them. I can't get into particulars.
Sure, of course. On
that, but so there is a combination of things.
Okay, and how many days do you meet down there? How many judges?
Well,
give us a quick little oversight of the court there.
There are 5 judges on the court. We have quarterly judges meetings. Our annual meeting is coming up November 15th. For the committee, I would anticipate a meeting probably somewhere in the February, range for an hour or two. And, once, the initial, meeting or two, is done and we have some clear guidance, then the meetings would probably only be annually as a review. Not a whole lot of time commitment after getting things straight from the beginning.
So you wanna wait all the way till February for the first meeting?
I don't really want to, but that may be how it turns out, just with everybody's schedules and things. I would prefer sooner, but
How often we meet?
initially, by the court security committee, they may only have to meet once or twice to get some clear direction for the judges, and then maybe one more after that, and then annually from that point forward.
Well, I'm speaking on behalf of myself, as president, yeah, absolutely, we'll be a part of it. We'll assist if there's anything you need assist-wise, from our staff, of helping you schedule that meeting or do anything you need to do. But we absolutely wanna make sure you're fully staffed, fully safe, and you have a plan, you're in accordance with all guidelines that you need to meet. And, you know, we're honored that the Court of Appeals is in our county, we are host to the 5-county area. You know, and that's something too, do we need to, although it's in Warren, although we're the seat, it's comprised of 5 counties, do we need to involve any of the other counties, any of the other?
Well, I thought about that, and I know I can enlist someone from Lake, which is almost a co-equal contributor to it with Trumbull, because they're very similar in size. I might, reach out to, maybe someone from the Lake Commissioner's office, or the sheriff there, to be involved, but the commissioners would be more likely, since they are a funding source, and should any decisions be made on a security improvement, they're gonna be hit with the bill too. Obviously, whatever, Trumbull owns the building and, has a duty to, make the building habitable and safe. And of course, what you spend, you back bill to the other counties in proportion to their populations. So I may reach out and, to one of the, Lake County Commissioners, probably, Commissioner Regovich, if I, can have him involved.
Security committee, is that by statute, or is that?
Yeah, court rule.
Okay, court rule,
Yeah,
okay.
Everything dealing with the court, is
So that happens in every...
non-statutory, every court,
Okay.
every court
Has
is
that always
required.
happened? Because we were never,
Yeah, I know.
yeah, we've never done it.
I know. And that's the problem.
Yeah, at least in my time.
Well, I know
We've never
you
reached
have.
out to be on any committee,
I know you haven't,
so.
but there's a new sheriff in town, so to speak. Any other questions?
Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor. You mentioned telecommunications. I assume you maybe mean our, and I know every county does things a little bit differently. Tim Hannaford is our IT supervisor under my office, so we're willing to share him with you and have him be part of the meeting.
Thank you. You're responsible for the new phone system.
Yes.
Didn't I speak to you on the phone about announcements,
You might-
being able to make a general
It was
announcement?
probably, one of my employees.
Okay.
Probably.
All right, but yeah, and, don't the alarm systems, the duress alarms go through?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
yes.
Do you have a card with you, Tim?
I do not have a card with me.
Well, I
yeah.
have his number.
Okay.
I'll make sure that you get his
Okay,
contact
yeah,
information.
please do. Yeah, he would be an important addition to it. No? Well, thank you very much for your
So
time.
while we got
Thanks for-
consensus, we'll
Oh, yeah.
have one of us on the board,
Yeah.
to serve as that. I guess for now, Judge, you can contact me as president, and then
Okay.
if I can't make it or whatever that one, then we'll decide amongst ourselves. And Tim, if you could be a part of at least the first meeting, that would be a good asset, I'm sure, to the courts. And,
I'm sure.
I like the idea of bringing someone from Lake County in too, so there's familiarity
Right.
when we do call and say, hey, here's your bill.
Yeah, right.
We probably need
partner.
to designate that for journal action too. Lisa, or as who's the designee, make it a yearly thing. So we're in full compliance.
Okay.
And we can ask the prosecutor on that, but I would almost assume that that'd probably be the way to go.
And they will have somebody too, he says, from the prosecutor's office too, so that's, someone you'd reach out to them anyway and let them know.
Sure.
We'll handle that, Your Honor, we can get someone from the prosecutor's office, then, you can work your way through the Warren City and, the sheriff, but, I know you've already been in contact with them, but,
And you'll.
I've already talked to Sheriff Major, Villanueva, the representative of, Paul Monroe.
and just for the record, Maura, I do wanna state that Judge Lucci is a Cardinal Mooney graduate.
Oh, boy. I'll hold that against you,
Thanks for getting me on and off. right
Not
at
a
the very
problem.
beginning. Have a great day.
You're free to go, Your Honor.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, we'll start off with the, our agenda. Dispense with the reading of the minutes. And as we stated before, last week I brought it up, Mara, when we are on YouTube, every word we say is transcribed every 7 seconds. So there is a record transcribed for those that may be deaf, that don't wanna read the minutes, or, it's logged on there in perpetuity on YouTube. So we do have, there is a transcribed version of what we say in all these meetings. It's been brought up before, that audio's not enough, well, it is transcribed by YouTube every 7 seconds.
I'd venture to say that since we got on YouTube, we've never had them transcribed so well, is my opinion.
Well, he
too,
catches
so.
every word, every
Catches every
grunt,
word.
every sound, every muffle, as long as they speak into the microphone.
Right.
And if they don't speak in a microphone, if the clerk couldn't hear you anyway, or the crowd couldn't hear you, it's not gonna be recorded by anyway.
Right.
Okay, number 2, approve the bills. The most boring but favorite part of the agenda, Martha. Number 3, approve additional appropriations.
Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor. I'm going to let, Bob handle the sanitary engineer one, and then I'll handle the rest.
Okay, Bob Maiorano, Sanitary Engineers. We have an increase of appropriations in Fund 486 for $55,200.86. That is for a transfer I did last week from our Replacement Improvement Fund. This is a project fund. It's to do our final pay app to AP for our, Mosquito Creek project, wastewater treatment project.
Okay, also just to let you know, that as well as 2 of the ones that I'm going over are also handled in item 5, again, Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor, and number 5 in the amended certificate of the County Budget Commission. Auditor's Office, the additional appropriation of $25,000 from Fund 740 is for Office 365 for Highway, the prosecutors, and any more additional before the year end. Planning Commission, Community Development is that $3,22,574 is the Golden Triangle setup expense budget, and I'll go to the common pleas, and then if Julie has anything on the Planning Commission, we'll let her handle that. The common pleas is for annual dues, it's Fund 062. And did you have anything to add on the, all right. Transfer appropriations, item number 4, I'll let Bob do the sanitary engineer part.
Okay, Bob Maiorano, Sanitary Engineers. The first transfer is for $600 in Fund 600, and that is for the purchase of additional perf paper, which we use for our water and sewer bills. Second item, also in Fund 600, is for $500. That's to renew our employees' wastewater licenses or reimburse employees for their licenses. In Fund 602, we transferred from another line item $30,000 to pay our electric bill for the next 2 months for our Brookfield wastewater treatment plant. And in Fund 612, we had to transfer $28,186 to cover our Newton Falls. They increased their bulk water price to us by 25%, so that's to cover the next 2 months of bulk water bills.
All right, so moving on, common pleas, the 310, and again, these are transfers within a fund, they're not fund to fund, just as a reminder. So common pleas, office supplies that was the reason for the transfer, of the 310. The, 1,042.10 is for ammunition. HR, $2.19 for, office equipment. $49 is an increase in dues. The election board, the Board of Elections, Elections Board, the $3,778.61 is, for scanners and an increase in legal ads. The commissioners, this is the additional money, the $10,934 is the additional money allocated to the Park District per the commissioners approved on, 10/12/23. The Sheriff's Department, or Sheriff's Office, I apologize, is, $400 for an increase in dues. The Planning Commission is $853 is for Office 365. EMA is $7,400 for a training grant. The coroner, $10,000 is an increase in coroner medical transport services. And the $1,000 for the health board is to correct an error made in a previous transfer in their shredding account. As I noted, number 5 is the amended certificate, and those correspond with 3 of the items in item 3.
All right, thank you, Martha. Let's go to number 6. Authorize Denny Malloy, President of Trumbull County Board of Commissioners, to sign a memorandum of agreement by and between Clerk Schaefer Hackett, an independent public accountant at PA, Mr. Keith Faber, Auditor, State of Ohio and Trumbull County, for the contract to audit Trumbull County for the fiscal period January 1, 23 through December 31st, 27. It's per the recommendation of the auditor. And if you remember, beginning of the year, we were notified that the state is not going to audit us anymore. We had to go independent. And so starting, I guess, with my term, the first audit we'll have will be with an independent auditor.
Just to add, Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor, it was actually June when the decision was made that they would audit, that they would contract this out. The whole contracting process was done through the auditor state. The only thing that I participated in within this was a pre-bid conference to answer any questions about the county and about the RFP itself that the auditor's office had put out. They only had, one proposal submitted, and that was, by Clark Schaefer Hackett. Actually, because of that, any points that I would have gotten to award as far as or we would have gotten to award as far as preference points was moot. We couldn't do that. So I had actually like 0, and the county had like 0 say in this. Sure. This is just, the memorandum of agreement is with them. There's also, and it's just to get you to sign that, the total cost over the, 5 years will be $694,800. And that will be billed to us, I believe, either, I don't know if it will be directly from Clark Schaefer Hackett or through the auditor state. I'm not completely clear on how that works, but, that they, awarded it. We just need to kind of complete this paperwork so that we can do it.
So you will still be our link through that and any,
Yeah, because that's generally how it works.
meetings or whatever will go through you, or exit interviews? will go
Well, or
through you,
they'll probably be contacting different, public officials directly rather than me, but it's just, as auditor, I was the contact person for the RFP and things like that.
Gotcha.
Martha,
Yes,
this is Julie Green. Did they say why they were transitioning from the state auditor to the private firm?
Well, the reason that was actually given, and it was to all of us, was that, they have a lack of personnel.
Oh, okay.
That's Carmichael Trumbull Tourism. They've been doing that with us for years. We're a smaller organization, but that's exactly the process we go through for our audit as well. We have an independent person, but the billing, you pay them directly, you pay the auditors directly, but it's all, calculated on the the state of Ohio auditor's website as well. But we've been doing this is
And
exactly how we have been
Martha Yoder,
processing.
Trumbull County Auditor, and they do a lot of smaller entities that way, as a Farmington Township trustee, it was done that way for us as well.
But typically with counties, it's unprecedented for me that, in my time.
This is the first time our county has had this. There are, I will say, in talking to other county auditors at our conference, because I found out about it through an email when I was at conference in June. So I asked a few that I was actually out to dinner with, and there are a few that have been, transitioned over, and, generally, it's sometimes the difficulty of the audit does play into it, just from the conversations that I've had, I'll say that.
Alexandra.
Alexandra DiVincenzi Bush. Can I ask, difference in cost? So is it comparable? So are we paying more for the services,
I'm
or are
not
we
sure that
paying-
it's more, I think it's
Okay,
comparable
comparable.
from, according
I
to
was
what
just
Christie
curious.
said. I don't have it in front of me, I can get that for you if you want it, but it's, I believe that it is comparable, and I know that, so it's not costing us more to
Right,
go to this.
okay.
It'll be different, though. It's not done in the same way. It's
Sure.
going to be, you know, Christie, worked for the state auditor's office. So she's, even her, because she worked as an auditor, it's a little different. She was in a different division. So she's kind of helped me walk through this. And, from what she has said, it'll be the same.
Okay.
But we'll see differences in how things are done, just because it's an independent auditor.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, number 7, notify Ohio Department of Liquor Control, public hearings not requested on liquor permit. B&C Eatery and Patio, DBA is Chad Anthony's in Belmont, or in Liberty, and Coach's Burger Bar, also in Liberty. Number 8, authorizing expenditure for responding to or mitigating the public health emergency from American Rescue Plan Act funds amended, Vienna Historical Society. So, we appropriated $60,000 for Vienna Historical Society, and they did a slight change, that they submitted. It was approved by Tanya, and then, we have the new, grant, which would be for $60,000 still, for installation of wheelchair ramp, electrical upgrades, new gutters, new metal roof, fire escape, excavation and waterproofing around the building, and a new window. And that's at the, Copper Penny building.
And Marcy Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor, the change was in the scope of work that they were doing, but not the amount of the grant. But because there was a change in actually what they were doing, we needed to have this amended.
And that's all legal and legit now, this is the way she did it. All right, number 9, enter an agreement, by and between the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners, Trumbull County, and the Vienna Historical Society. This is the $60,000 that goes along with the previous one, as a standard. And then, number 10, authorize engineering firm Burgess and Nyepel to provide the technical services as listed with regard to State Water Road Regionalization Project. Project number 2W23, and Champion and Southington Townships, and to enter an engineering agreement with Burgess and Nyepel for said professional services, and the amount not to exceed $347,870,000 to be paid by ARP funds. Gary?
All right, Commissioners, this is that very important, project that we have to interconnect our Zeta Champion public water system with the Braceville system, and be able to supply that Braceville district with all Warren water. And we can get off that Newton Falls water, of which they just increased the cost, and we're having problems with their water quality. So this should be the, solution to our problems out there as far as, violations for, HAA 5s and THMs. Do you want me to move on to number 11?
Before we do that, I saw some emails exchanged. Can you quell the rumor or at least respond or answer to the allegations from Farmington that we're trying to steal their water and take over their water plant?
Yes, over the past couple of weeks, the Ohio EPA has, inspected the village's public water system, which is separate from ours. It separates at the hot box. And they found violations up there for poor water quality, mainly that they have almost no chlorine in their water tank. And, what the EPA, after their investigation, they found out that, West Farmington wasn't using their auto flushers. Auto flushers are put onto the water lines to, avoid having stagnant water in your water lines and also your water tank. And the operators, they go out and they fine tune these to know exactly, oh, I want this to go off at, usually at nighttime, I want this to go off at 1 a.m., I want it to run for 20 minutes, that'll flush this many gallons out of the system. And they set these timers on the auto flushers. And all operators of a system, you know, that's one of their major duties is to maintain that water quality and find that delicate balance where you're not wasting water, but at the same time, you're still keeping the quality where it is. When the EPA went out and investigated in West Farmington, apparently they weren't using their auto flushers at all. And so the EPA cited them on that. As a matter of fact, our superintendent, Ron Watson, went up there and helped them to get the auto flushers working again, to resolve this problem. And the EPA notified West Farmington that they need to correct the problem. The mayor of West Farmington, in the email, she, basically told the EPA that, oh, this is just some sort of conspiracy by Trumbull County and the Ohio EPA to run this small water system out of existence because it's gonna be too expensive for us to operate and maintain, and the county just wants to take over our system, so.
We were accused of denying them chlorine, or shorting them chlorine in the system.
Yeah, where we delivered the water to them through the hot box, we're within the parameters of our agreement of the water quality. So there was no violation on our part of the agreement. Same time, the mayor of West Farmington is giving the impression that we are in violation. It's mainly just a matter of their auto flushers, they didn't properly.
Who runs their water treatment there?
They hire someone, it's an outside operator, they only need a distribution operator up there for part-time, so many hours per week, I think maybe 20 hours per week, I don't know that for certain, but something like that. And he's supposed to be the one going out and making these adjustments, but apparently that's not happening.
Is that someone with the same last name as the mayor or not?
No, that's her husband, who is not an operator, who does go out and do, from what I understand, he goes out and he does do things that an operator, a licensed operator should be doing.
But he's not a licensed operator, as far as you know?
No.
Okay. I read the email correspondence back and forth, and something was jumping out at me as, why is her husband monkeying with the system and getting in there and playing water operator when I know our people have to be qualified and certified to do that, but then we're getting accused of some stuff that I clearly saw, and you had a really good response that I read of yours about the distance the water has to travel from Newton Falls. This, what we're doing here, is gonna give them water from our district, not Newton Falls now also, so they're gonna get better water quality through this state road project?
Yes, the city of Warren's water, they use chloramines for disinfection. Newton Falls only uses chlorine. Chloramines have a much longer shelf life, probably at least twice the shelf life of chlorine-treated water. We don't have H85 problems out there in the districts that are supplied by Warren. And the Warren water is, like I said, much higher quality to be able to resolve this whole problem that we're having with chlorine residuals and disinfection byproducts. Yeah, this is the solution, and, this is for the design engineering, and I put in, an EPA nomination for this from their water end of things last, I think it was due in April, and we did get 50% principal forgiveness on the big projects. So it's about a $5 million project, and we got half of it with principal forgiveness.
So I guess bottom line is, we don't have any intentions of taking over their water system and stealing it from them and running it ourselves.
No, as a matter of fact, when we initially, were looking at that blueprint project, when I ran the numbers, it would cost us more if we were to take over their system. We'd have to have a higher rate for the people outside the village. Because if you think about it, I'm getting revenue from the village, but I have no O&M costs on the other side of the hot box. if we were to take over their system, I have that O&M cost on their side of the hot box. So I wouldn't, so it just doesn't make any financial sense for us to take over that system.
Thank you for that explanation.
Commissioner Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor, just for clarification, although Mr. Newbrow said it right, it's the village that has the water system, it's West Farmington, not
Not the
Farmington
township.
Township. Thank you.
Correct.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, this is a village, a village issue.
yes.
And the letter we got in the correspondence came from the mayor, or the current mayor, I don't think she's up for election now, or didn't qualify or something, but the current mayor, and then, like I said, whenever the names were involved, then that's where it raised the flag for me. Okay, moving on, let's go to number 11. Gary, authorized any only present board of Trumbull County Commissioners to sign and accept for use substantial completion of the newly constructed Mineral Ridge Booster Station and other appurtenances as part of the Mineral Ridge Hydraulics Improvement Project. Contract B, known as County Project Number 2, W15, the Mineral Ridge Public Water System, Weathersfield.
All right, Gary Newbrow, sanitary engineer. This is, the second contract of that new water tower we built in Mineral Ridge. It's complete, and we are required to do a substantial completion certificate.
That's it? Is that simple?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 12, to adopt a resolution declaring the necessity of constructing the Scoville Drive Sanitary Sewer Improvements Project number 5S16 for the Trumbull County Combined Sanitary Sewer District, Vienna Township. Note, Thursday, December 14th, at 7 p.m. is hereby fixed as the time at the Matthews High School Cafeteria, Warren Sharon Road, Vienna, as the place for the hearing of objections to or acceptance of project number 5S16 to the tentative assessments or to the boundaries of the assessment district for the same as outlined in the resolution.
All right, Gary Newbrow, sanitary engineer. Commissioners, as you know, with the ARP funding that you have graciously afforded the sanitary engineers, we have many projects that are funded now, and we need to move through with these public hearings. This December 14th date, it was still tentative when I sent it over last Thursday. Are the commissioners okay with this date?
I'm fine with it.
Okay, all right, so it is set, we can pass it tomorrow. I already did a draft of the fact sheet, and because of your ARP funds, we reduced those, tentative assessments from over $200 per front foot to $75 a front foot.
Gary, I
Yes.
am waiting to hear back from a court reporter on that, so,
Okay,
so I don't have that side yet.
all right, well, we got some
FYI.
time, we got
Okay.
over a month, so.
Okay.
She's gonna be late anyway.
Yeah, she was late last,
Maybe.
Yankee, yeah,
Gary, that reduction was from 200 a front foot to what?
the $75 a front
75
foot, yep,
Because of the ARPA money.
yes, yes.
Worth noting.
Yeah, and just, so you know, we have Stewart Sharon Road, it'll probably be coming out here within a few weeks. We got that one, we got lined up, we got State Line Road, we got Stillwagon Road water. So we got 3 more public hearings here within the next couple of months that are gonna be boom, 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 boom.
All right, now Gary, this is a little different than the last one. The last one, if they were under 90,000, they can get hooked up too.
Yes,
This does not include that.
exactly
This
the
is
same thing. This is gonna be part of that countywide slap. I took this one into account also.
Okay, so if they're under $90,000 income, they'll get that benefit also.
Yes, you have
Great.
to remember, there's only 15, properties on this one,
Right,
so it's not gonna be as many.
right. But that's a nice little bonus for them.
Yes, yes.
Item number 13, execute an agreement with Euthenix to provide professional engineering service for the TRU CR 123 Bridge Project located on Barkley Musserley Road over Eagle Creek in Braceville Township, and the estimated amount of $186,013. The contract for professional services agreement with Euthenix was prepared by ODOT in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code. The selection of Euthenix is based on the county engineer's quality-based selection process for professional services. Professional services agreement will be 100% direct pay by Bridge Funding Program grant received by the County Engineers Office to County Engineers Association. No general fund money is requested. Mr. Gerberry.
Steve Gerber with the Highway Engineer's Office. To award Uthenix the design engineering for bridge on Barclay Messerly Road. 100% funded through the program, as is the construction of the bridge. It's gonna start in the...
Thank you. We like free. Okay, number 14, concur with Trumbull County Engineer to grant the right-of-way permit for Dominion East, Trumbull County Metro Parks.
These are, the first one for Dominions are a, gas line, main line extension, and then the Metro Parks, they're replacing a driveway culvert on, highway at the park site.
We just said that EH word, educational highway. Okay. Number 15, concur with Trumbull County Engineer to grant a special annual supplier fee for fleet vehicles to transport aggregate, concrete, construction goods, or other like materials to the sites located upon load posted Trumbull County roadways, requested by the companies listed, Jacob Weaver Company and Ralph Betts and Sons Excavating.
For 2 annual permits, they're renewals. Jacob Weaver, they were a company changed names, but it's essentially Ralph Betts is a renewal.
Thank you. 16, approve the recommended 2024 call for service rates to charge police and fire departments, TC 911 dispatches. The recommendation is for $7 CFS, based off the 2022 run numbers in addition to a 10% increase. The 911 plan outlined call for service fees, as well as annual review and increase associated with customer price index for the corresponding year. The rate charge has not been increased in the last 10 years. Over those 10 years, the rate charge would have resulted in a 30% increase. A recommended increase of 10% will be an appropriate temporary step in the right direction. The Director of Trumbull County 911 is in the process of assembling a 911 program review committee, which will provide oversight on updating the 911 final plan. Stacy, this is in, last week you gave us a presentation that needed to be 30, you recommended 10, 10, and 10, and, this is the official agenda item to make that happen.
Yeah, Tacey Bond, 911 Director. That would be the recommendation. I know we've already received a little bit of feedback, wondering if it's gonna be 10, 10, and 10 the next 3 years, or if this is gonna just be a temporary step until the 911 final plan gets reviewed and, amended. Ran that through legal. Legal is okay with this being a temporary solution, but they strongly want the 911 final plan revisited and updated, along with following all the new state rules from state, ORC 128. So I think we need to sell it as a temporary step while we amend that plan. While I would love to see us recoup the 30% that we've lost over the last 10 years, it's kind of hard to go back to these people when things haven't been done by prior administrations and whatnot. Also, depending on how this year goes, the CPI for this year could be 8%. I think 2023 was 8%, so we would be close to a 10% increase anyway, if the trends follow along, and I think we can all probably assume it's gonna be high just based off of everything else that's gone up in the past couple of years. Of this recommendation, I've only gotten a little bit of negative feedback from a few agencies. But when I've basically articulated the fact that in 10 years they've had no increase and they actually owe us a lot of money, they've kind of went away a little bit. So fire departments have not had any gripes at all. They've been very receptive to, hey, costs are going up across the board. We don't like to see it, but we understand it. They also understand the plan that we're trying to do with these funds, which is, hire more staff, get some supervision on the floor as far as first line supervision down on the floor for all 3 shifts, since we currently only have 1. Additionally, adding updated equipment and technology so we can provide better service for both the citizens and the responders.
Okay, very good. 17, authorized transfer of Mr. Brian Pisciotti from groundskeeper building maintenance department, pay range 4, to the vacant position of custodian within the building maintenance department's pay range 3. So he's actually going down a step, down a pay
Bill Hart.
voluntarily?
Yes, voluntarily stepping to a custodian's job, Bill Hart, Trumbull County Maintenance. Yeah, he just wants to change his pay. That's what he did on the afternoon job that's been available since January of last year. We're gonna re-advertise it, but he stepped to it because.
Okay. And that, this is what opened up that opportunity for Mr. Slick? He
Yeah.
goes to the other
Yes, the
position?
interim building inspection job, yes.
Okay,
He declined that job and then started going after me.
gotcha. All right, 18, to award a price proposal to Proscape Landscape Contractors for the installation and replacement of one home sewage treatment system for the income qualified household located in Southington Township, eligible for assistance through the HSTS Reserve Program, and a total amount of $16,750.
Billy Green, Trumbull County Planning. We sent out a request for price proposals with a due date of October 31st for 2 households so that we can, get the 22 funds under contract and expended in a timely manner. And we are working with the Combined Health District to finalize another 5 houses, technical specifications in order to bid those out. And these 2 go together. So, they are awarded based on individual houses, and this is a program that's ongoing for the last 14 years, and the model contracts are reviewed annually by OEPA and our prosecutor's office. And awarding it based on individual households has also been something that we've always done and was the practice approved by our local legal counsel. So for this particular RFP, we do have, two RFPs to award. Each one had the low price for each individual household.
Thank you. And to award a price proposal to Yoho's Action Septic Tank and Supply for the installation and replacement of one home sewage treatment system for an income qualified household located in Warren Township, eligible for assistance through HSTS Reserve Program, and a total of $17,400 for recommendation of the Planning Commission.
Billy Green, Trumbull County. As I mentioned, we sent these out together. They were the low bid for this particular household, and both are contingent on the review and approval of the Ohio EPA. And once they approve those, we can move forward with the project.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes the, regular agenda items. Couple of things, for the board that came up. First of all, just do a, kind of a fun thing. But here in Trumbull County, we look at this place as a whole county. We're proud of the accomplishment of not only our county employees or our residents, and when they give us a good name. It'd be remorse if we didn't acknowledge, that Ryan Blaney won the NASCAR championship, series championship. Ryan was born in Hartford. Everyone in this room is familiar with the Blaney name from Sharon Speedway. His grandfather was a pioneer of dirt track racing. His father was a champion dirt track racer and NASCAR driver for many years. Came this close to winning the Daytona 500 in a rain-shortened delay. And his Uncle Dale has won many accomplishments. Not only that, his grandmother, Kate, served on the Tourism Bureau for many years. She served with me and was instrumental in representing the interests of the rural communities and kind of banging the drum to pay attention to some of the outlying attractions that we have here. And I was proud of the time that I served with her on the board. So the Blaney family, this is a big victory for the whole Blaney family and their legacy. And I think as we get closer to when they award the championship type of thing, I think we need to do a proclamation, possibly even have like Blaney Family Day here in Trumbull County rather than Ryan, being that he lives in North Carolina now. But for his accomplishment, kind of, the stepping stones his grandfather and his grandmother and his father made, I'd like to recommend that we do that. We do a proclamation and do something nice to honor the whole family, not just Ryan, on his accomplishment.
Absolutely.
So we'll look forward to that. We'll find out when the, NASCAR championship presentation thing is and find a time, maybe in their off-season a little bit where, we can get Kate in here or some members of the family and recognize the whole family. As we would do if it was Jason Kokrak winning, the Masters or, one of our NFL players from the county. We're proud of anyone that's homegrown here that makes us look good in the world's eye. Okay. I get a call from the health department yesterday. They're in the process of moving in, to the new digs. They wanted to know, Bill, they've got a lot of tables and chairs that they're not gonna utilize because they, acquired some stuff that was left over at the bank building. So I told him that I would instruct you to kind of work with him, see what inventory they have there that other county employees may want or may utilize. Put it up there on the Facebook post or an email or something, in the department email, what's there. And then he wanted to know how quick or what our plans were for the old building, because they had some files, some things they wanted to leave there if, temporarily, but they didn't know if they had a deadline where they actually had to get out of that building.
Commissioner Trumbull, County Maintenance, Bill Hart. The coroner's office did take a tour through that building, as Commissioner Cannon said last week. They're interested on the first floor, so whatever happens when they get out, before they move in, if there's any renovations possible that they may wanna seek, carpet, whatever, paint, get that done before they move in. And they just want the first floor, so there's still a second floor, and then the basement they may use for meetings, but they have a room upstairs on the first floor.
Right. The basement has been renovated for meetings.
Yeah.
It's got the lighting, it's got all the equipment, it's got everything they need for meetings. So that's something not only for the coroner's office to use, but any county agency or maybe civic group or whatever, that's something we can market as available meeting space, so that it gets utilized and not just, collecting dust.
Yeah, they spent $50,000 on, I think, in that basement.
Right, so let's get it utilized as best we can. And then, Mr. Migliozzi also said they do have a big first floor office near the rear entry of the new health department building, that if we had a need for that office for another county agency, we had talked before about senior, levy services, or, another office where we need just, one big office space. He said that's available to us if we want it. So that's something we can look into. Maybe if 911 does go upstairs, maybe even the sheriff's department can use that as an outpost or something, or a place to stop in and make copies, do file reports, whatever, without having to drive all the way back to Panther or all the way back downtown. I know they do stuff in Mecca and other places, but I'm sure we'll utilize that room somehow, so I'll advise him. I'd like to keep that as an all-county office somewhat for somebody to use, when in Cortland. Yes.
Commissioner Julie Green, Trumbull County Planning. Recently, Warren Township inquired about, the possibility of getting a furniture that's not being used, and I just wanna mention that. And I also reached out to our prosecutor's office on what is the process. If we don't go through GovDOT deals, can it just be given to them? And they sent me an email explaining the process that would have to be followed in order for us to give them extra furniture. And I can share that with whoever is interested in that.
Okay.
Because we also have a lot of extra furniture in our, offices that I'd like to start moving out.
Alexandra?
Commissioners, Alexander DiVincenzi Bush. Diane, I'm just bringing this up again, Diane at Senior Levy has been very adamant that she would like to move. I'm speaking on her behalf. She feels like there's little space where she's at, it's very inundated, it's old. She's in the old portion of the Board of Elections, from what I understand, and that part was not renovated. Diane has been a big proponent of HR, of trying to kind of, as HR has been restructuring things, not restructuring her department by any means, but she would very much like to advocate for, and I can't speak for Mike Salamone, but she would like to have her and Mike together, in a common workspace, which I think from an HR standpoint makes a lot of sense. They do cross over on a lot of transportation items, they cross over on a lot of things for our seniors, and just in general. So maybe keep that in mind when you're talking about that empty room, over in Portland. That would be, I think, a great opportunity to move Diane, Mike, and whoever Diane's gonna have underneath her in the future, be all together in one common working space.
I thought of that, I just don't know if three of them in one room is gonna work. It's a big office, but it isn't broken up into multiple offices.
I haven't seen it, so I'm just,
Maybe when the health department gets finished settled in, they'll realize maybe they can squeeze another little area with it. We can look into that. We can also look into the upstairs of the health department, where they used to have 15, 20 employees working. Or there's a possibility of moving Mike over to the coroner's old office and being right next door to Diane, and then seeing if there's any modifications we can make to that building to blow a wall out or something, or expand that space. If it's just one person, Mike,
yeah.
he'd be at least in the same building with Diane, where they can walk across the hall and talk instead of a phone call.
Sure, whatever
Stone
works,
building to
but
that.
I do just wanna make sure that I continue to bring that up, because I do think from a feasibility standpoint, it makes sense that they all need to be a little bit closer in proximity, working with each other.
Yeah, as efficient as we can be is what we wanna do.
Correct.
I know the employees, talking to the health director yesterday, are ecstatic about the move. He said there's only two of them that weren't real happy, and he said those are the ones that were able to walk to work in Warren, and they're already paying Warren city taxes anyway.
They're always gonna have.
So, they got the short end of the stick, but the other 35, that are going to court, and they're extremely happy about the move and the new home and the opportunity for a fresh new start there. Okay, and then the last thing I have personally is, it was brought to my attention from the prosecutor's office. He was notified and somehow looked into this, transportation improvement district that we formed. We followed everything according to ORC when we formed the board, but he found a conflicting Attorney General's opinion from 2018 that showed that maybe a county commissioner shouldn't be a county commissioner and on the board at the same time in their own county. There are other counties that have TIDs with a commissioner on it that also serve on the TID, that would either be possibly in violation of this Attorney General's opinion from 2018 or not. So I made some phone calls. I talked to, Engineer Smith. I talked to, Chamber. I talked to Nick Coggins yesterday as president of the TID, or chairman of the TID, to, get their thoughts. The consensus from everybody was, we have a TID meeting planned for tomorrow, was to bring that up as a first order of business, and hire an attorney, which is recommended for a TID to do, to have their own legal counsel, because the prosecutor's office cannot represent a TID. And then let the attorney decide whether that's proper or not. I myself will abstain from any votes in the interim, and I started to look around already, for replacement, to do that, and what's legal, and what's the best means to move this thing forward. And, I just wanted to address you, Commissioner Cantalasa, that that's what's going on with that. It wasn't anything that we're doing differently or wrong. It's something, a lot of the other counties that have, I think there's 53 counties or something that have a TID, and I haven't actually found one yet that doesn't have a commissioner on it, so,
Well, that's the importance of hiring the legal counsel to guide us in that.
Right.
And let us know if we're going
I don't wanna do anything that will jeopardize any funding, any
No.
grant, things like that. We already were accused of missing a grant, a deadline, which is not the case at all. If we'd have formed the TID the day we decided to have a TID, we still wouldn't have had the project lined up and the paperwork ready to go and things far enough along to even apply for anything at that point. And by the time that we got the bylaws and everything done, it just wasn't even feasible.
Right.
This meeting we have tomorrow is gonna address a lot of the bylaws, a lot of the quicker things, and bottom line is if wrong with the commissioner being an actual voting member of the TID, then, or any hint of it being improper, that we get the advice for, there's a million other people we can, put on that to represent us and, move this thing forward. Our next deadline is not till March, and we know that already, and we're sure of the date of that, and we have, the engineer, already has some ideas, for what money we're gonna apply for, and I'm sure we will hit the deadlines we need to hit for the March, projects.
Yeah, it doesn't change any of that, so,
Right.
I mean,
And I'm gonna meet with the prosecutor again today, just to go over his opinion and how he came to that, and where this all came from. And make sure that he's good with his opinion, and, you know, he's already advised us to get our own counsel, that he can't really advise both, but as far as that goes.
That would have been the case no matter how the TID was formed, by the way.
Correct.
Cause that email from Danzo came right at the beginning of this, wouldn't have mattered how it was formed, so.
Correct.
If they advised legal
If it was a
counsel, because
15 or 5, we
Right.
still would've put a commissioner on it the way that we did it.
at the end of the day, the prosecutor's office cannot represent the TID. That's what we do know
That's it.
for sure.
Right. Okay, I'll open it up, who's got, something for the greater good?
All right, Commissioners, on last Thursday, we opened up the bids for Yankee Lake. At least I don't have an extra one right now. You can see there were 6 bids submitted here. The apparent low bidder looks to be Rudzik at that $2.292 million. The next lowest is Carrilla at $2.499. Now, when the bids were submitted, all of them except one had the entire bid book, submitted in a big envelope when Lisa opened them up. One of them only had the forms that are in the book filled out, okay? And that happened to be the low bidder, Rudzik. So, right here in the instructions to bidders, bidders are to submit the full contract and specification volume with your bid. So Rudzik, even though they were $200,000 less than Carrilla, they only submitted this and not this. I talked to Bill Danzo about this, and, he's supposed to be sending us up a legal opinion about it, but I am of the opinion that,
So essentially, it's an incomplete bid.
yes, I mean, the words are pretty clear.
All the other ones did the whole book in
Yes,
this?
bidders are to submit the full contract and specification
Right.
volume with your bid. I mean, it's a clear violation, it's not a complete bid. So,
I don't think we have any other choices to,
yeah,
No, with the next,
I think we have to go with
lowest.
the next one, but the good part of, well, not, it's not gonna cost the residents in the project area the difference between these. It's not gonna cost them an extra $200,000. And the reason why is because if you look at that engineer's estimate at the bottom, we're at $2.86 million. Carrilla still came in at $2.5 million. So, with this, if they don't go into the contingency, this is gonna be 100% grant funded with the Carrilla bid. There's not gonna be any capital charge anyway. And if they do use all their contingency, I'm only gonna have a debt of about $20,000 on the project. So, it's not that we are, if we give it to the second highest bid, it's not that it's gonna cost the people out there anything significant.
I'll just say that it's slippery slope because, what precedent are we setting if we give it to Rudzik, even though they're the lower?
Right,
You're essentially awarding an incomplete bid.
right.
So I think, fairness and for completeness, I think we need to look at, and you're still under the engineer's estimate, so.
Yes, well
nothing-
below it.
Nothing's increasing as far
Yes,
as what the users will be paying, so. I would move to go on to the second lowest bid,
okay, all right.
lowest complete bid.
Yeah, now that'll be on next week's agenda, but the reason I have to do this now is I have to get this, bid tabulation and recommendation into the EPA by Thursday. That's why I wanted to discuss it with you, that we were gonna put the recommendation together to award it to Carrilla and send the bid tabulation into them, and then the actual, approval of the contract will be on next week's. But I need to get in my draft of the award to them by Thursday.
I'm okay with it, just make sure we're totally legal by,
Yeah,
Not
well,
going with
that's the
number one.
reason I didn't I don't have the recommendation written up yet, I'm still waiting for the letter from Danzo.
right? I mean, you're talking $2.5 million, I'm sure a company, if they thought they were wrongly outed or the instructions weren't clear, would have an issue with it, so make sure we get all our i's dotted and t's crossed on this one.
Yes, and I'm sort of surprised that Rudzik, I mean, they've never had any kind of minor, issue like this before, I mean, their standpoint, I mean, it's,
How much paperwork's in the book? How much other things?
well, these are just the addendums, but there's a lot of forms that need to be filled out within the book. And a lot of them, they'll just pull the forms, well, they'll get on the electronic copy, print them out, be able to type in, you know, fill out all the forms, type it, and then they'll just set them on top of the bid book and wrap a rubber band around it, and that's acceptable. Resnick just gave us this. And, you know, it's a shame that something that minor is gonna cost them that contract, 'cause they're both, these are two of our best contractors, Resnick and Carrillo. So, yeah, it's a shame that they didn't get it, but we cannot have this contested. If, let's say we were to award it to Resnick and Carrillo were to come forth and put out an injunction, that principal forgiveness from the Ohio EPA, we have to award this thing next Wednesday.
Right.
If something comes back and says, oh, you can't award it to them, I don't know how that jeopardizes the $1 million of principal forgiveness from EPA, because they have to have a loan award with us on December the 1st. So there's no way, I think we could go back, oh, we're not gonna give it to them, we're gonna give it to them. That might lose $1 million for us. So
Put this on the prosecutor and let him.
yeah, so our potential savings of $200,000 here, is it worth jeopardizing $1 million for?
And, you know, the prosecutor might say lowest and best is at the commissioner's discretion, and you can make that call, and we'll attempt to defend you if you go with a, you know, with Resnick, but at the same time, I think it's pretty clear if you look at an incomplete bid as opposed to a complete bid, we wanna be as, you know, forthright and thorough as possible, and not set any precedent in the future that, I mean, this is the bid process, either it's followed or it's not.
Yes.
So we, you know, it's a slippery slope if we choose to go through it.
Okay, yeah, and Matt Blair and Bill, they say the easier way would be to give it to Carrillo, less legal, chance of legal repercussions with them.
But we'll see what Bill says.
Okay. All right, I have another issue, Commissioners. This is Gary Newbrow, sanitary engineer. Last night, Julie and I, we went up and met with the Vienna trustees at their monthly meeting, and we were talking about that Sheridan Drive project to bring that sewer up to Matthews School.
Yes.
And I have been talking with, Russell McQuaid, the superintendent up there, and we were going over, you know, what's the logistics, how are we gonna get this sewer line built and this sort of thing. It's coming down to that it would make things a lot easier if that grant were to be awarded to the sanitary engineers instead of Matthews School, those ARP funds. And I discussed this with, Jim over here, and, what we are proposing is that in order to make it, because we didn't have any petitions on this, but last night they handed me a petition with all the people on it. But we were looking at doing house connections for those 9 houses along the way, using the ARP funds. And Russell McQuaid let me know that he has a little bit of money from an endowment or some sort of, contribution he got from the Cafaro, Foundation a few years ago, where he would have enough money to pay for those house connections. But he's hesitant that that's not considered an improvement to the Matthews High School. So we are looking at, we use some ARP funds from the house connections, but he supplements that back to the main line. What we have spent on house connections, he can take like $75,000 from that Cafaro money that he got to make up the difference on the main line project. So that's what I'm proposing to you.
How many connections are there, Gary?
I think we have 9. It's 9, maybe 10, but I'm pretty sure it's just 9 besides the school.
I think the board realizes how important it is because of your development of the schools and the campus style over there on that road.
And the air base, yeah.
And the air base, to have that sanitary sewer line there. I think whatever we have to do legally, to make it work, would be in favor.
All right.
As far as ARPA money, we understand how many children is that gonna service, how many individual, you can't look at the 9 homes, you gotta look
Right.
at the 3 schools that are gonna be there, so, that's a lot of users, and that's an important, piece of infrastructure for the school system.
Right.
My opinion on it.
I agree too. I think the value of the big prize at the end outweighs,
Yeah.
the tie-ins to those 9 people is meaningless compared to
Yes.
what we're trying to accomplish there.
Yeah, eventually,
That's collateral, but not in a bad way.
yeah, eventually you're looking at a K-12 campus out there.
Right.
Maybe not immediately, but that sewer is there for it, and that high school that's 100 years old, there in Vienna Center, that can be demolished.
Right, and if those people are in accordance to work with us to allow it to even happen,
Right.
you know, we don't, they could be the other way where they unified, don't want it to happen, don't wanna do it, and if this is a holdup with anybody, it's not worth the
No.
time and trouble to do that,
Okay.
for the bigger picture.
All right, yeah, when I sat down with Russell and I started talking to him about the design engineering and, you gotta look at our as-built drawings and, PTIs with the Ohio EP, I mean, I'm talking a foreign language to him. So I'm thinking that it's much easier for us to go ahead and be the recipient of that. Now, Jim says that I would need to send in a fresh application.
That's what Martha Yoder, Trumbull County
Okay.
Auditor, that's, my thought is that we need to like do it, according to the way that you've talked about with, like, for the connections, and then have the school contribute to the project itself.
Okay.
And then we would have to send that on to Tanya to get the approval on that, correct?
Yes, and have the approval from the school board,
Yes.
All of that,
stating
yeah.
that they wanna withdraw the
Right.
petition upon the acceptance of yours.
Right.
Okay, yes.
So if we can get all of that together, and then you go ahead and submit everything directly to my email, I'll have, with the consensus of the board, because she'll ask for that, I will send it on in a, yes, please, yes,
Yes.
can we-
Yes.
verbal yes, thank you.
Yes.
So I can, what time is it? We can look it up later. And I'll send it, we'll have, Mr. Masaki send it on to Attorney Rogers then.
All right.
So you guys can get moving on it. And then it's, at this point, I believe it is on the yes sheet with the amount that we have.
Okay.
Once we get a resolution, it'll go to the allocated promise sheet.
All right, and
Right?
I'll keep it at the same amount that the school board
Okay.
asked for, you know, from that
Great.
perspective, so it's not
Yeah,
about
let's just
anything.
kinda get all the ducks in a row and get it to Tanya, so, and secondly, do we want to make that a priority, or, where in the list, as far as getting approval from the attorney, do we wanna put that? At this point, right now, we have, in order of priority, we have the land bank request is first. We have the gold and the red highlighted ones that were sort of in the queue before, and then things stopped. And then we had, the broadband request, and then the rest that are on the yes sheet. That was the order that we had it. Do you guys have a
I don't think
particular?
this needs to be a priority, though, there isn't any state money we're looking at, or grants or anything.
All right,
There's a
well,
deadline on
we
it.
just have to encumber the money by December 31st.
Of,
For the
of
design.
24.
Yeah, 24, yes.
So we
Oh,
have-
yeah, 24,
So we
yeah,
have,
I'm
we,
jumping ahead.
yeah, you're,
Sorry, yeah.
I do that, but I do it with weeks.
So we're gonna have to get it designed, get the PTI, get it out the bid.
We still taping.
Oh, no, we're still
Okay.
taping, I'll explain here in a minute.
Okay,
Oh.
so we're looking at, have to get it designed, send it to the EPA, get the PTI, get the bid documents together, get it out to bid, and award it by December 31st of next year.
So do you want to put it after, at the bottom of the yeses, or at the beginning of the yeses?
Just put it in with the S's in order, we don't wanna
Okay.
cut anyone's throat.
That's fine.
I think we have
Okay.
plenty of time.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm just Julie Green, Trumbull County Planning. I'm just worried that, I mean, we have so many sanitary sewer projects that we have to get under contract by the
I
end
know.
of next year.
I know.
And we're working with Gary's office on the income qualification end of things. But understanding how long it takes to get PTI.
What do you guys think?
I think with this schedule will be fine.
We can always move it up later, Gary's got
Right.
like a million things ahead of us.
Yeah, well,
That's fine.
right now, even writing this application, I've got to get this Yankee Run thing done by Thursday. That's high number one, then comes this, then I still have to write, everything for a public hearing for the Scoville Drive, get that ready, get the letters out to all the residents there. there's quite a few things
Martha
going
Yoder,
on.
Trumbull County Auditor, I'll just make a suggestion. So what we can do is we can see how quickly some of these other things, if you get that done and you feel like we need to start it, we can put it ahead of some other stuff, all right?
Okay, all right, okay.
And Julie Green, again, sorry, one more deadline. And I know that there was some interim ruling by our ARP attorney on the land bank project. I don't know where that is, so.
Well, we haven't, Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor, we submitted it, there was some back and forth, and we haven't gotten anything. I requested Ms. Masaki this morning, haven't gotten anything as far as a definite yes or no.
So is it,
She's still considering whatever has been submitted.
okay, so that was my question, Julie Green. The attorney received the request to give the opinion. She gave an opinion.
I saw that,
And
but then
so I
she
guess-
added more information, which makes it
Right.
a little bit clear. If you would like, and if the board would like for us to do this, what we can do is maybe have Mr. Masaki make an additional inquiry today, if that's what the board would like.
Yeah.
And maybe because I understand there's time sensitivity.
Well, and
I get it.
I also didn't understand, or maybe, on her end, maybe she's waiting for another consensus or another directive by the board to say, please issue another opinion.
Okay, so what we'll do is, it's 11:11. Keep this down.
Make a wish.
So, the board,
Yeah.
it's complicated, as Ms.
Yeah.
Green said. She issued a kind of a conditional sort of yes, but then she asked for more information after that. So it wasn't completely clear. So with the board's consensus, I will have Mr. Masaki reach out again to her today to find out exactly what she needs and if she still should move, and that she should still continue to move forward with it.
That's fine.
Right.
I'm okay with that.
That's a good point.
Commissioner Malloy, thank you.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Bill Hart.
Go hard, Trumbull County Maintenance. With, the opening of a groundskeeper's job when Matt Ulysses, resigned, I'd like to have a new one posted so we could get that moving, so we'd have 2 groundskeepers. Potentially maybe 3, if Brian decides to stay where he's at.
You gotta post 2.
Yes.
But we don't have to, but I'm asking
Well,
permission to.
you gotta,
Yeah.
you gotta 2 positions.
Bill, also, I hate to bring it up, but what's the status of the walkway at the Ag Center? The grant money we got from Sandy O'Brien, that Ag was working on?
We haven't gotten the funds yet, for the overlook, the stairs,
Yes,
haven't gotten the funds yet.
have not gotten the funds from where?
Do not.
Odina.
Okay, could you have Shara make a phone call on that today to find?
Amy sent a email to me, it's in their legal now. It went from our legal back to their legal. So
Okay.
their legal has it, so
Yeah.
Amy Rear is in the loop, and I keep her in the loop, because I'm questioning on when it expires. I don't know on any of that, so she's in the loop, and I will reach out to her today.
If you can work on that, I got some inquiries this week, and I just wanna add it off the path that
Okay.
we're not dropping the ball
Well,
or
I'm waiting on the money.
causing us to lose the money.
No, we're gonna
Okay.
use it all up when we get it.
Jim?
Hanford, Trumbull County IT. We have made actually, we designed a new website for the Trumbull County Commissioners. This is the old site that is currently being used. Lon, if you wanna go ahead and show the new site. This will be the new site that we are looking to implement here very soon. Go ahead and scroll down a little bit if you would.
Mark, was that high school?
Senior picture.
So,
I was gonna use the one where I was leaning on the fence, but.
Not the one in front of your car?
basically, we've taken the content from the old site, moved it over to a new design. We know that there's probably gonna be some suggestions for modification to it, but, as a first step, we wanna get this site, go ahead and, put it up and go live with that. My thought is we'll probably go live with it on Monday. And then anybody that would use the current address, we'll be able to get to this site. It looks a little bit more modernized, a little bit more cleaner than what we've, currently have had in place.
Tim, how easy is it with that? 'Cause I know a lot of people, the only reason they go to that site is to find the link so they can click on it, to click
Yes.
right into our meeting. How many steps is it?
It's gonna be a
Okay.
little bit easier. Do you know where the meeting link is at, Solana, on there? It's probably up towards the top on that site.
I highlighted it, stay connected.
Oh, the meeting link is right on
Oh.
that front page? Yes.
So just a click and
Yeah.
it brings you right into the Zoom of the meeting? or-
Well, it'll bring you to, go and click on, see if, I don't know if she has that live or not. Yeah, no, it takes you right to the meeting site.
Still have to do the ID.
You would still have to go ahead and enter in the
Meeting ID.
meeting ID.
Okay. Copy and paste the meeting ID, click, join meeting, paste.
Can you
Right.
sorry, that's with Trumbull Tourism, can you not automatically put the meeting ID instead of somebody having to copy and paste it into the Zoom?
That's a good question,
Because I
Beth.
think, 'cause when I'm on webinars, I just
Right.
click right in and it goes right into the meeting.
I'm going to get with our, web developer and find out if there's a way of doing that, right in there.
If you could, 'cause all
Yeah.
public meetings we've been putting on this thing, and we want it to be as accessible as possible, and I know we get some people out there barely know how to use a computer,
Right,
and we don't wanna make it restrictive at all, we want it to be the most user-friendly way to get in, to get
Yeah.
public information as we possibly can have.
Yeah.
If I can make another recommendation, make that link bigger.
Yeah, I agree
Put it up
100%.
at the top, or make it the second line, but see, now I have to scroll down, and then I have to start reading everything before I can find that link, so I
Yeah,
would
scroll-
make that link bigger.
Scrolling that may be part of the fact that's being shown at that aspect ratio on that TV, or on her monitor.
I agree too, it needs to jump out at you, it's like, click this link and join a meeting, watch us live, watch archive.
I mean, scroll down a little bit. No, the other way. Keep going, all the way up. Maybe put that above the commissioner's photos there, we could do that.
Doesn't matter if it's above or below, it just needs to be a big or a box or something.
Yeah.
Click this link to watch a meeting.
Yeah.
And then maybe have a list of watch live, or watch archives, or
Yeah.
something after, but then maybe a highlighted brown, tan, whatever,
Yeah.
where it looks like a big press here button, click here,
Right.
that they click right into it. Just a line with something that's highlighted, I don't think jumps out at them enough. We want something to say, watch a meeting live, click.
Okay.
And the size, as somebody who uses this and goes to that website, the size just right now currently jumps out at you.
Mhm.
See it, clear, copy and paste that number in,
Right.
it works. So that would be.
'Cause that's the number one reason people are coming to our site right now.
Exactly.
Why not make it the number one
Yeah.
thing that they see right there, easy for them, quick, click, boom, boom. You know, they're not coming in to read about my background, not coming to read about
Right.
what's the journal clerk's name or phone number. They're
Right, exactly,
clicking on that.
they're for the meeting. Yes, yeah.
Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor,
Yeah.
it's also, one of the things is it's consistent with the look of all the other county sites. And that, of course, is intentional, and I think it's helpful. It makes it pulls things together, because we have some sites that are still old and some that are newer, but it's consistent and with.
I know there was a time frame when I was running, before I was here, and I would go to, and I had to hunt like crazy just to find Trumbull County Commissioners.
Right.
I don't know if someone intentionally tried to bury it so they couldn't find it at that time, and found someone else's site easier or something, but
Yeah.
I know there's ways people can do that type of stuff, but we need to do everything we can when someone types in Trumbull Commissioners, Board of Commissioners,
Right.
Trumbull County, that we jump up there on Google or whatever it is to the top,
Mhm.
so anything we can do
Yes.
that way is to get us marketed. I'm telling you, it was buried. I literally would have to go into one or two other sites and click links till I finally got to this site.
Right.
It was really, really hard to find, and that was
And,
pre-Martha and me, of course.
and Tim, is there a way that you can put that link for the meetings on the top navigation? Because to Jenny's point, that's what I don't remember the website, so I just put Trumbull County Admin, and then I'm clicking into that, then I'm trying to,
There is-
like, okay, where's the commissioner? Oh, it's on the commissioners, and so maybe if there's
There
on
is,
the top
there is a
line-
meeting link at the top, but I don't know that it takes you directly. We do have that as
It does,
a,
it
More
does.
general meeting page.
yeah, there is a general meeting, but you could do current meeting or something like that. Correct, Tim?
What's that?
You could do
Oh,
a
yeah,
meeting to do a
definitely,
current
definitely,
meeting or
yeah.
something to make it more visible, but there is a meetings one on this page that he has up.
I'd have to check it, but I think when you go to the meetings page, there's not, if you click on that, you don't get to the meeting. I think the only way right now that you get to the meeting is by finding the commissioners page and getting the meeting link there.
This is right now on this, I can't see if there's a link on it or not, I can't tell if it's a link for my thing.
There
But-
is a link.
Right, this
But
is
again,
the
that should
new
be-
site, the new site.
Oh,
Big
yeah,
button.
yeah.
Right, it's the
Big
new, on the new
highlighted,
one.
bold, bubble,
Yeah.
cloud, bubble.
You know, and as I stated, right at the beginning, is that, you know, we're basically just moving content from the old to the new, and we'll get there. We're, you know, with all these ideas, we want to build on top of this.
Yep. And I would have something,
Yes.
as we do, like we had
Right.
the transportation meeting last week.
Yes,
Then we had the TID meeting, and we had
correct.
the insurance meeting, or whatever things we have, that if there is a special meeting for that week,
Right.
it's real there, bold in front of you, you don't have to hunt for it, it just jumps up at you that here's what's going on now, or this week, or current meetings available,
Right.
or coming up soon, or something, where here's our regular stuff, here's our archive stuff, if they wanna dig and look for an old meeting, but here's, if you're coming here, look for a transportation meeting, you heard it was today, here it is, boom, click on it.
Julie Green.
Yes.
I have another comment, regarding I think they look great, so first of all, thank you for your staff, they always do a wonderful job, and they're very responsive. When I was doing websites, amateur websites in 2000, there was a way for you to actually, either pay for that searchability, to put your name at the top, or to register certain terms to make it come up more quickly when you do a search. Is that something that we can do as a county?
We could look for something along those lines, but Google Analytics, you're almost gonna be paying a marketing company to do something like
Okay.
that for you.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, is it really
it's a
worth
new
it?
it's a new
Yeah.
feed, it's a
Yeah.
real thing.
Yeah.
Because Trumbull County is a government, that takes
It
priority
takes
on
precedence.
Google,
Right.
you don't have to pay for that.
Oh, okay.
positioning.
She's right.
If you type in Trumbull County automatically, the first listing is almost always the admin,
Okay.
website, so you don't have to pay for that anymore. We do, because we have to bump up, but you don't.
Yeah, I mean, Alexander DiVincenzi Bush, I do this often, unfortunately. You Google Trumbull County Commissioners, and the first thing that comes up, government, you can
Yeah.
see the government, and then below that, and I just did it, if you're curious, you can do it right now, but all the government access websites come up first, they have precedence. And there is a new thing where you have to pay to get precedence, but we don't need to.
Okay.
I don't foresee any reason why we need to do that.
Right.
All of our websites come right up
Oh, yeah,
now.
yeah.
Okay.
So, Trumbull County Human Resources, if you Google that, that's the first thing that comes up, our website, Trumbull County Auditors, if you Google that. I just did it right now, so, I mean, they all come up immediately, so. I feel very confident. JFS is the same way, we had ours redone. And even Facebook pages, when you list your Facebook page as a governmental entity, which when you sign up for the Facebook page, which I know because I did that for JFS, as long as you register yourself as a governmental page, it will obviously put you in priority. You don't have to pay for ads, you don't have to pay for, precedence. There is that business package option, but I've never had to look into that, so.
I just thought I heard mention that it was difficult to find.
Yeah, it happens with state agencies.
Thank you.
You know, the new
Job
2020, things have changed so much, but,
I know.
yeah,
Yes, very much
it's
so.
crazy.
More,
Algorithms, anything like that, you know, the more you search it, the more it comes up too. I'll tell you that too. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a real thing.
You sure can, Lisa.
Okay. So
Mr. Blair.
I've had a lot of department heads ask me what the schedule was gonna be for the meetings the rest of the year. And so we put together a list of the regular meetings, the workshops, and any special meetings that we had.
And I'd like you to consider the week of Thanksgiving, possibly having the regular meeting on Tuesday as opposed to Wednesday. Only from the standpoint that since there are only the two of us in there doing the backup, and with me creating the agendas now too, we need the extra time before the holiday. Otherwise, we're going to come back Monday and be facing a whole new agenda with all that backup.
Right.
I'm fine.
So, I mean, just consider it, let me know, but I'd like to put something, it'd be great to put it on the website after.
Well, you wanna pull your schedule up right now? You have your calendar and
Yeah.
let's.
And I don't
let's
have my
see.
phone, so I can't look. I'll look on Martha's.
I really wasn't planning on a meeting Thanksgiving week.
I
Didn't we
mean,
normally
it's-
do, we didn't even
it's-
have them normally.
Well, if we don't have a
No,
meeting,
we've had them in the past, we've had a few, but there have been more clerks up here. It hasn't been as,
but let me ask you this, have we done we need 50 meetings, correct?
yes.
If we missed the meeting for Thanksgiving and Christmas, would that still give us 50?
I believe so, yes, because right now we have 43 regular meetings, and we have 32 workshops that count as meetings.
So you're,
There are some workshops where we lost the quorum, we highlighted them.
But you have 32 that are legit out of the 42?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
there-
and then there were other meetings, there were ARPA meetings, so I think we're above and beyond it,
I
really.
mean, we're like 75 just in workshops and regular meetings.
Lisa, just pointing out too, that the week after Thanksgiving, we have the budget hearing.
Yes,
And you have to prepare for that as well, so that makes it a little bit.
yes, and I wasn't even thinking of that, Martha, thank you.
What else? Well,
That's right, tentatively, I have November 27th,
have you,
if that's okay, is the budget hearing. That's historically, that's when it was done, was the Monday after Thanksgiving.
I will not be there.
Oh.
That is opening day deer season, and that is a holiday, and when I got elected, they elected me to be here as a deer hunter, and I'm gonna celebrate with about 12,000
Okay.
Trumbull County residents on that day by being in the woods that day. And that
What
is
day is that?
non-negotiable.
What day is that?
Monday the 27th.
Monday the 27th.
Why don't you make it
of
the
after
28th?
Thanksgiving?
Do the workshop in the morning and budget hearings in the afternoon.
Well, it's an all-day thing.
It is all day.
It's an all-day thing,
It really
budget
is,
hearing.
and just to get
In
the
15-minute increments, and then there's a lunch
Yeah.
break.
Are we doing 2 days or 1 day?
I believe it's just one day.
That's what you've done
One full day.
historically.
Like, I
is
can tell you
when
the 27th and the 28th are 100% absolutely out for me.
So maybe the 4th, if you wanna go that far ahead.
Yeah,
I know, what about the 30th?
might be
30th?
better coming out of a holiday weekend anyway.
Fine with that, 30th.
The
Monday the
30th?
30th, yeah,
30th?
November 30th.
if that works for everybody.
It's the
I had
Thursday.
a hair appointment. It's not till late, though, it's okay.
Okay. You'll be ready for it
Yeah,
probably by then.
yeah, no, it'll all be pulled out.
Okay, so,
You'll have to make me a wig.
I need to look at the board and make sure nothing's scheduled. I mean, I could move it, but hopefully, the 30th is sounding like something to me.
My hair appointment.
I'll be
I
right
was
back.
gonna say, go looking.
Yeah, I'm gonna go look. I'll be right
Mine's the 29th, Martha. Cut and color, 5:15.
Mine's at 5. Yeah, I do it at the end of my day.
Right.
Commissioners, while she's looking at that, Alexandra Dew and Jency Bush, I just wanted to remind everybody that budgets are due 11/13. Speaking of budgets, in case anybody's waiting to the last minute, they are due 11/13, and we're off Friday, so remember, that's Monday. Also, Election Day is today. I would like to suggest that everybody in the county make sure you go vote. That's something that I think is very important. And last but not least, I do need to ask you for your decision-making skills on what you want to do with elderly affairs. So we know that they're potentially closing up their doors at the end of December. I come to you, I think we have mostly everything figured out. I come to you with one thing and one thing only, and it's their employees. There's 6 part-time employees there who have accrued time. Our policies currently state that you can cash out your vacation time, but you can't cash out sick time. As we all know, it's the 10 and 10. So either you're here 10 years and you retire, and then you can cash that time out, or if you're not here 10 years, the time just goes into a bank. It just goes into a bank, this big bank of the unknown, and you don't get to take that time with you. I am proposing, the employees there are a little bit disturbed by that because they're closing their doors. It's not their option to leave. So I am gonna propose to the board that you do allow these 6 part-time employees with a maximum of anywhere from 100 to the most, one person has 300 sick hours. I
These
do.
were part-time drivers.
They were. I
That's
do
not a lot
think,
of money.
it's not. I do think that we should do the right thing, and I think that we should allow them to take their sick time with them when they leave.
Yeah, we're not integrating them in other offices, we're
Correct.
not, so if we are separating them from
Correct.
service by basically shutting down on them. So I'd agree 100%, we give them every benefit we can
Perfect.
as a thank you for their service. And if there are employees that do want to integrate in other departments, you know, I would say they work with you or you
Oh,
work with
absolutely.
them
We'll
to
look-
try to find them
Yeah, we'll look to do
new
that.
employment somewhere else in the county,
Correct.
first and foremost, before they do that.
But I absolutely, at the very least, wanted to just make sure to bring that up and make sure that you guys were okay with that, because that is
Is that-
contradictory to our current.
And not to rain on the parade, but is that legal? Do we have a legal
Yeah.
opinion on that?
So I've already gone through the ORC, yes, and I worked with, both Kim and Penny in the auditor's office as well as Bill Danzo. So yeah, there's nothing in the ORC, it's actually an administrative decision. There's nothing that says what happens when you close your doors. So everything pertains to either they quit or resign. There's nothing, retired. But we've never had a county agency necessarily close per se.
Can
So-
we double check that with Clemens Nelson?
Mm-hmm.
Just so
Yep.
just so we know? I mean, I don't wanna do something that's gonna come back to bite us. You agree with that, Alex? I think that might be,
Yeah,
I know I'm
mean,
being like hyper cautious,
yeah,
I just think.
no, I don't have any problem, I mean,
That's what we got them there for,
yeah,
you know?
it's, yeah, absolutely. And worst case scenario, they're gonna come back and say, which we already know, it's an administrative decision, so.
Okay.
And then, unfortunately, it's still on you guys.
At least we, no, that's fine.
You know what I mean?
No, that's
So,
good.
but at
That's
least you have
good.
it in writing.
But at least we
Yeah.
have, that legal opinion in there.
Okay, so the 30th, I do have an RFQ and a bid opening, but those can be done in another room. They don't have to be done in town.
Okay. All right, so county's closed this Friday in honor of Veterans Day. We'll have our next week, no problem at all. The week of Thanksgiving, which is on the 23rd, you're proposing no meeting that week? Or Gary, you said in the past you
Yeah,
have?
and I don't,
varies.
I don't
We've had it
remember,
sometimes, sometimes we have it.
sometimes you
It
don't,
varies.
but if we can plan ahead and know there's not a meeting on that week, then we know to get things in the week
Right.
before. So if
So
we
the
know.
sooner we decide on this.
The only thing I worry about is the
And
following week, Maura, if we do have budget hearings, we're not gonna have a meeting on Tuesday, Wednesday of that week, or at least if you do, I'm not gonna be here.
Either day?
Either day.
I thought, Lisa, you were looking at taking it to the next Monday for the budget hearings.
Well, that's,
She's
yeah,
looking
but I'm
at
talking about the
the
regular meeting.
Oh,
That
okay.
week.
I'm talking about the regular meeting.
And I will, sorry, I gotta say this one more thing, Human Resources Department. It's really important for department heads, because we do have a cutoff of when we can stop cutting purchase orders. So
Yeah.
if there's anything that needs to
That's
be
what I was just gonna
contracted or
say.
paid for, we have to know so we can plan ahead, to Gary's point, to either
Mhm.
propose it next week,
2
because
weeks.
past December 4th, we can't cut any POs. I mean,
Right.
we're done for the year.
Right, I could do a regular meeting on the 29th, but not a workshop on the 28th.
Okay.
So we'll have regular
That's fine.
meeting on the
Regular meeting on
29th,
the 29th, no workshop.
okay? And then the following week, do we do the budget hearings, or do you wanna do it the 30th, the next day, like you said?
Yeah, she had said the 30th.
I'm good with the 30th,
No, you said 2 days would be the 30th and the 1st, or the 30th and the 4th on
We don't
Monday?
do 2 days,
Yeah, it's only one day.
it's only one day.
we're gonna make it one day and just cram it all in.
Yeah.
That's what you've done historically.
We've broken it up in the past, but
I know, like-
recently we've done it all one day to try
Yeah,
to get it.
yeah.
So that's fine, I'm good with either, one day is good.
Okay, so regular
coming back
meeting
into
on the
it.
29th, no meeting Thanksgiving week, I mean, no meeting on the 22nd. Go ahead.
Yes, and that's fine. It's just everybody needs to know that,
Budget.
that everything needs to be in
30th.
And some
Like for next-
transactions require 2
2
weeks.
Yeah, I know, that's the only thing.
That's,
But as of right now, so
Bob,
tentatively, 29th, we're having a meeting.
you don't care, okay.
29th, we're having a meeting, 30th
If
is
you
the
guys don't
budget
care, I don't
hearing.
care.
And everybody would have to have, if they want something on the agenda for the 29th, they would have to have it in
By the 23rd.
by the 22nd.
Right, oh, sorry, 22nd.
But here's my question, are we taking the week of Thanksgiving off without a meeting and the week of Christmas then? And does
Yes
that give us
and yes.
enough meetings? I would think, that's what we
Yeah.
typically did.
Yeah, the week,
They're already
The
over.
week
week-
of Christmas and
The
the week
week
of
in
Thanksgiving.
between.
yeah,
No meetings.
the week of Christmas, you have 2 days off.
Right.
Because Christmas and the day after Christmas are both holidays.
Right. But, I mean, you could still technically have a meeting that
Right.
week, but I think if we have enough meetings, you can take off Thanksgiving and,
And
that way we can set
That will
that
give
out
us-
now.
That will give us
They're talking in
49
between.
regular meetings
Right.
Yes.
and about
So it
36
would be, they don't, not that day.
workshops. So if we count the workshops, if they do count as a meeting, you know, we're pushing 90.
The way we doing that is, we take the roll, we take an adjourn, take minutes.
No, you don't need to do the, you can go to.
We haven't gotten a definitive answer on those
I know.
workshops, as far as, that's what it's leaning towards that they are considered meetings, but they're not, I don't have anything definite in writing from either our prosecutor's office or CCAO or the state. I think, taking off Thanksgiving would be the,
What about the special
and we
meetings?
could talk
What
about,
about the special meetings?
They don't,
We have the ARPA special meetings.
do those count as our regular
those don't count towards regular.
agenda meeting?
50, how many are we at?
I don't think so.
Regular, your regular commission meeting,
42 or 43?
And we're 43 as of right now.
so
So
tomorrow.
if we took 2 off, that would be 49. So how about this, let's make sure that we have, Thanksgiving off, and then we can discuss Christmas as it gets closer, if we're still of that opinion. Maybe we can have 2 meetings on a week.
Yeah,
You can do that, I mean,
You have,
so you can have Christmas off.
okay.
I know a lot of people go out of town, I know,
Yeah, we'll bring it up with coun- let's bring it
family
up with
coming
legal
in,
counsel.
it's a big, you know, thing.
Yeah, half of my people won't be there Thanksgiving week, I mean, that's,
Right.
that's a
It
normal
is what it
week
is.
that
It
a
is,
lot of people
yeah.
take off.
Well,
And nobody.
they have family coming in, or they go see family, and,
Yeah,
yeah.
Sure.
Are you here?
Mm-hmm.
So as of right now, no meeting the week of Thanksgiving.
No meeting the week of Thanksgiving, and then anyone that wants anything on the agenda for the 29th, instead of having to have it in on Thursday the 16th, they can have it in by Wednesday the 22nd. Is that okay, Lisa, or do you want it in by the 21st, so you have the 22nd to work
Oh,
on?
that's enough.
I mean, the earlier the better for me, but,
But you're not having a workshop, so
Right.
you have that extra day.
right,
You have the 28th.
yeah.
I mean, I think that
I mean, the
works for you.
22nd should be fine.
Okay.
Okay, 1 o'clock on the 22nd, they're gonna have their agenda items for the 29th.
Okay, that works.
And that
And
would
then
be
it
any
gives you
purchases,
Monday and Tuesday to work on them.
Okay.
would be any purchases that need to be made before the end of the year as well.
Well, that would be your last opportunity, yes,
Right.
before they shut down the system, so yes. I know. I know.
And then we'll see what December brings.
Yeah, cross that bridge when it comes.
Yeah. Okay.
Commissioners, I have some things that, I know everybody wants to get going, I'll try to make it fast, but I do have a couple things to go over. This is Julie Green. Whenever you're ready.
Go ahead.
The 3 not board, planning commission members,
Yeah,
are those going to be on before the end of the year?
yes. We plan to, right?
Do you
The
need-
3 that are up for renewal, or the
Correct.
2 plus the 1?
No, the
Yep.
3 that are up for renewal,
Okay?
so
Did
the
you set a
dead-
date or whatever, do they have to reapply, or how do you typically do
It's already,
this?
Yeah, they already did.
so the commissioner's office already advertised, and the,
We didn't get any other people besides those 3 that wanted to reapply.
my
Really?
understanding, yeah.
And the 3 are who?
Bob Moody,
Rachel Nader
Yeah.
and Melissa Miller.
all good members of the board.
Yeah.
In good
Yeah.
standing.
I would recommend reappointing those
I would as well.
3, so we can do that at any time then, I guess.
Tomorrow?
If,
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to.
I'll write it.
No, just make it for next week. Don't add anything to Lisa right now. That's not something that's pressing.
I will do that for next week. And then,
Right.
for Mr. Carpenter's seat, you were gonna advertise that, or you're gonna,
No, that would be the commissioners' well, I've, in the past, done it for the commissioners and then was slapped for doing that.
Okay.
So now I do not do
Right,
that.
we had one
Unless
resignation
you
from
two
the
wanna
board.
Yeah.
tell me to do it again, but yeah.
Let's advertise for that position.
It's in.
Yes,
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
It's in.
Okay, good.
Okay,
okay.
so you've
And what's
already
the deadline for
The
that?
deadline's the 22nd, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Okay, so then we can have those, that could be something for the 29th that we can look at if we have applications in by then.
Sure.
Okay.
not literally slapped, figuratively.
Sure.
All right, do we have any other, Mara, do we have any other board seats coming up that we know of? We still have one on mental health that's open.
Do we?
We do.
Okay.
There's, we appointed one, not the other. And we, the Port Authority, do they have any seats that are expiring at the end of the year?
They haven't submitted any to me. I know that we just reappointed, I think at the beginning of the year. a
Right,
couple.
one,
Or one, yeah.
right,
I think you need to appoint one for the 911 review committee as well.
yes.
Somebody from the commissioner's office, or?
Well, the president and the commissioner will be one of the seats,
Yeah.
and then the commissioners will appoint an elected official as one of the other spots.
An elected official from anywhere in the county?
Believe so, yes. I can get that and send it back on to you again.
Okay, find that and then put specifically on there, or we can talk after and
Yep.
see what you're thinking, and then we can think of nominations, I guess, for next week's meeting. Cause some of you may already fill, if we already have like the Mayor Warren or somebody like that,
He's
you
on
may
there.
fill with other seats that,
Yeah.
Mayor Warren's on there, I would assume, yeah, already.
Most populous, yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, can you email us who's on there already so that we know too?
But that's, yeah, I can email you the previous ones that haven't met and it hasn't been done.
Yes.
Yes, the previous
least
ones
so
that we have on,
an
at
elected
least that we
official
have.
could be any elected official?
Any elected official, I believe so. I'll get the wording of it again. I have the specific 128 ORC that lines it all out, that lists all 6 members of who they need to be.
Okay.
I
And
think I've sent
one
it to
person
you
I'd like to
once.
include, if we could, would be to reach out to Roger Peterson. He is the director of 911 in Geauga, and he's a township trustee in Bloomfield.
Yes, he'd be great.
And he would be a wealth of knowledge because he is already running another department. I don't know
Also
if there's a
serves on our
conflict
EMA
that
board,
ways,
yeah.
but, he's on the EMA board also, but
He's great,
his presentations that he did for the ARPA stuff has been
yes,
rock solid. If he has an interest in that, I think he'd
He
be
does.
invaluable.
agreed.
Firefighter and a paramedic and a nurse as well.
Yep, and I
Yeah.
mean, just
He'd be
his
great.
knowledge, I think, would help this commission with the rural communities. Okay, we can talk about that then.
I just have 2 more things, I'm sorry.
Okay?
Large solar, you asked me to bring that up today.
Yes.
So I did get some new information, so Eric, Roman from the Ohio State University Farm Office, who was the other subject matter expert I left a message for, and he called us back, and he actually Zoom meeting with our staff and gave us an update. So, as you recall, there was a concern that if the, restricted area map was not put into place, that would take the power away from the commissioners and the trustees from saying no, if that was not in place. He said that, to his knowledge, that only applied to projects that were in progress, that were grandfathered in. There are no projects, to his knowledge, in Trumbull County that are grandfathered in. So even if the commissioners don't pass the restricted area resolution for the 10 townships who have indicated they would like it, if a solar farmer or developer wanted to locate it and made application, the interviews, the hearings would still come before the commissioners and the trustees, and if you said no, it would die there. They could not make application, even without the restricted area resolution. I know that was,
So they can't slide one in on us and do
Correct.
things without our,
Correct.
Unless they were already grandfathered in.
and there's
There's
there are,
none that are
there are no
grandfathered
grandfathered
Well, that makes it
cases.
less ambiguous now.
good.
And I know that that was a concern raised by Mr. Pegg at a previous meeting. And he was correct that they did rule against the locals, but that was for projects
Grandfathered in.
that were grandfathered in, and we have
Gotcha.
nothing like that in Trumbull County.
Good,
Okay.
makes it very easy then.
But with that being said, you do have 10 townships who passed resolutions, so if you wanted to move forward with the process, I know this is a busy time for your very understaffed office,
No, but I think
forward.
I still think we need to act on this to start the process. We don't wanna, we've been talking about it for weeks, months. We need to start the process here somewhere.
Yeah,
And those ones are ready to go. Let's service them now.
yeah, they took the time to already vote on it.
Right.
Give us their unanimous, you know, to make legislation on their own, so we might as well do it on our own.
Well, I mean, it's a timing issue, so your public hearings would fall right around Christmas. So that's why I'm saying, if you start it now, it's not going to be a good time for anybody. So, do
It
you
won't be a
wanna-
good time for anybody, but then again, not to bring this up,
Mhm.
but there is an election in March, and I don't want a lot of these things happening in February, March, that would seem unfair,
Okay,
to put those things in the spotlight during an election time for
okay,
two of our board members. And, so I kinda wanna avoid anything in that time frame, because I don't wanna be accused of, or people thinking that we're tainting the process in any way by
okay. Well,
throwing these things out there to the public right before they gotta go vote for people.
I'm willing to put together the tentative schedule then for your office to advertise, and then you can take a look at the dates. But it will be right around Christmas time that you'll be having public hearings,
Okay.
okay?
I mean, the other option is then we wait till after March, and I don't wanna do that.
Well, it would be the beginning of January would be the other, I mean, if you wanted to delay it a couple weeks, that's all. But we can come up with a couple scenarios and email them to you.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Let's do that.
Anything else?
Just a YARS update, I'm pleased to
Before
announce.
we move from solar, did we receive a call back from anybody regarding the request we had from Gustavus for, some type of an informational,
Yes, that's who I spoke with, Eric, Roman, I think I'm saying his name correctly.
okay?
He is the, so I reached out to.
He was a extension service, right?
Correct, he's with Ohio State University.
Right,
Him and Peggy Hall, I think they're both attorneys, he might not be an attorney, she is. They both have very full schedules, but when he did call me back, he said he was willing to do a Zoom meeting with me right then, and that was where I gathered all of this information.
good.
And so,
Would he be interested in meeting with or talking to Gustavus?
No, that was the purpose for me asking him if he would just talk to us, so that we could relay it. But with this new information, for large solar specifically, I don't see where there's a real need to do anything, truly. There's no projects grandfathered in.
I understand that, but Gustavus still has one we know is coming, and that may not be in yet.
But that's for under 50, according
Okay.
to what I understand. And that is all zoning all day. I spoke with Mark Posey last night. We've shared with them the best practice small zoning resolution and all the best practice information. The zoning commission, the trustees, they have to update or adopt their zoning resolution in order to be able to regulate under 50 megawatts.
Oh, you spoke to who?
Mark Posey, he's
From-
their zoning inspector. I spoke with him
In
last
Gustavus.
night. Oh, yeah, he was in Vienna. So he's the zoning inspector for Kinsman, Gustavus, Vienna, and I believe that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
So if they want someone to talk to them about a zoning resolution, or to even give them a draft one, we've shared these with them. We've shared with them the process under 519 for them to initiate the zoning amendment process, to get this adopted so that they have some sort of regulations on their books. It's really in the township trustees and their zoning commission's hands to adopt those regulations. And we can talk to them about it from the planning commission standpoint of zoning, but we've shared all of the information, but we are willing to go out and speak to them.
Okay.
Did they, if they set a date yet?
No, that's what they were looking to find who a speaker would be, who would come and educate the trustees and their citizens. And until they had who the speaker was, they weren't gonna set a date. They were asking for assistance in
Yeah,
that.
right. Yeah, well,
If you can reach out maybe to Mike Crosby directly, and he's the
Sure.
one that requested it.
you wanna give me his phone number?
Yeah, I
Cell
will.
phone?
And then you could just say, hey, here's the information you have, you
Yeah.
can come and share it with them.
Yeah,
And I think any company that does it's gonna be tainted, and there really isn't a organization that knows both sides that really could provide them any more information that's not gonna be biased one way or another, I don't think.
Well, it's two different things, large and small solar. So that has to be explained, and
Well, if they're zoning, then they're probably gonna wanna learn both of them. If they don't know anything about it,
correct,
their zoning and their trustees need to be educated
correct.
on large and small, what the difference is, and for them to make an
Well, no.
educated choice.
I'm sorry, just to be clear, large solar, you cannot regulate through zoning, and that's been the issue.
That's regulated through the county commission.
And the Ohio Public Siting Board,
Okay,
so,
so small is what they need education on then,
right,
how they handle that.
yeah.
Okay,
But I'll call him.
okay, perfect. Okay, and you had something on yours, I'm sorry.
Nope. His name's Mike.
Mike Crosby.
So I just wanted to give an update. We had, a record number of agenda items on the planning commission this week. 12 zoning text amendments, and a lot of them have to do with wind and solar, but a lot of them have to do with the Rs. So as you know, we applied for the, military installation sustainability grant to provide these deliverables to the 26 affected communities to consider adopting in support of YARs. And so far, Warren City and Champion Township have adopted, and then, very soon, it will be Bristol and Warren Township. So, we do have a number of communities who are adopting it, either in part or fully as written. And, it's just one step closer towards showing full support for our airbase.
Mitzi has retired now, and I remember when Todd Littell had somebody retire recently, it was brought up to honor them at a board meeting. Is that something we should acknowledge from the board regarding Mitzi?
I know we did that at a planning commission meeting.
Right?
We gave her
Well,
a
that would be up
plaque
to you.
and, or a recognition,
Yes.
proclamation, and,
Correct, yeah.
but if you wanna do it as. a
Well,
board,
I
that's
just
fine.
remember when Todd did it, it was really nice for the girl who worked
Yeah.
there for that many years, and I think Mitzi's been probably as important to your department as the other lady was to the recorder's office. So I just wanna be fair across the board, you know, she,
Yeah.
as we know, will leave a gaping hole, and she's gonna be missed, and I think we should do something of sorts that we didn't really have a party for here, or anything commissioners wise, you probably did over your way, but I
And
think
the
we should
Metro
do
Parks
something.
did as well.
We named a conference
Yeah, I mean,
around
that's
her.
that's nice. If the commissioners want to do that, sure.
If you wanna, and it would be up to, maybe check with Misty too, if you
Yeah.
wanna take part in something like that. 'cause
Okay,
She may not.
I will.
Can we look at that for next
Yeah,
week's
I
agenda,
will.
possibly work with Lisa?
I will.
I was just gonna say, from a human resources perspective, we always leave that, it's a great idea, it's a fabulous idea, but we always thank Commissioner Cantalasa for addressing that. We always, that's completely up to the department head and that employee. Some employees, believe it or not, I have had say, I don't want a resolution publicly. So please just always, it's a great thing to do, I completely think we should do it, but just make sure it should come from the department head, because we wanna make sure that they've cleared it with the employee first.
Leave it with the department head then, and if, Julie, if you think that's warranted, let's do it.
I'll ask Mitzi and I'll let you know.
Okay, very good.
That's very nice, though. Thank you for thinking of her, 'cause she is fantastic, and every time I think about it, like this morning I was driving in, I'm thinking, oh, Mitzi's gonna be here, and I'm like, no, she's not. 'Cause we have a Platts meeting. I'm like, oh. So, and not to take away from any of the other staff, 'cause they're great, but I've worked with Mitzi for the better part of 23 years, and she definitely is missed. He can attest to that. She was a
Yeah,
great
she
employee.
was one of the key employees at the planning commission. Even when I'm over at sanitary, if I need something over there, Mitzi called her on numerous occasions.
Well, and that's just one of the things, I mean, every employee we have here is valued no matter what department they're in, and when we lose one, we need to acknowledge that and thank them for what they did, being part of our Trumbull County family, and I think it's a morale thing too, when people see
Yeah.
that they are appreciated, even when they're gone, that helps the next employee, keep their head up a little higher and anticipate their day when they leave, maybe not wanna leave so fast, so. Okay, anybody else have anything for the good of Trumbull County?
I have an ARPA update, just
Yes,
briefly.
let's do that.
Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor. Some of this we already went over, particularly with the land bank request. There's still no request from Howland. They had sent me, I had gotten, an email from the administrator that they were going to do one, but I haven't received anything. The only sheet I'm giving you this time is an updated allocated and promise sheet.
Do we get anything from the other ones we reached out to?
No,
Nothing from Mecca?
no.
No
Well, Mecca, no,
replacement from Vernon?
Mecca was already added to the
Okay,
Commissioner's Drive and to the maybe sheet.
okay, Vernon?
Nothing else from Vernon.
Okay,
I can reach out. I didn't reach out because you didn't actually request me to do that, but if you want me to reach out to the ones that were, you just asked me to freeze the funds.
Bill, I know Bill has to leave, Bill.
No, I'm talking to Gary.
Okay, I just wanna tell you, I know you wanna go. Green light on the courthouse looks great, thank you for that.
Yeah, yes, very good.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah, nice job.
Thank you.
Yep.
Our guys hung out there for hours.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Could you put up
Thank you.
the Papa Chris's flag?
But, yeah, it's going up there. Going up there.
Okay, Martha,
If
sorry.
you want me, you didn't ask me to reach out to those,
Captain.
townships where we had the denial, but you wanted me to freeze. I can do that.
Can you do
didn't-
that, please?
Sure, I will.
I just wanna get them in the process of
Sure.
things before we even contemplate opening up for the additional funds, and we're getting all this
So-
other stuff in.
Okay, I understand. I'll take care of that. You have, the only sheet that you have, because it's the only one with any changes, is the updated allocated promise sheet. And there's just small changes in that we spent some money that had been encumbered, and we just took a munis report. There's some approvals that should result in an increase in encumbered funds, but the POs have not been added, and I think Cheryl is very busy doing compliance, and so she has probably not caught up with that yet. The only thing I would wanna know on that, allocated promise sheet is, how often do you want me to update that? Do you want us to be doing a munis report and then updating that every week? Or only when there's big changes, or once a month? How often do you want that?
I think at this point, with that stuff, you can do once a month.
All right,
It's just the new things that have been approved,
great,
you know, whenever something's gonna change that way
great,
with it.
okay,
The little things, we
great.
don't need to hear about every week.
Right, that's what I thought, but I wanted to kinda just make sure you guys were good with that. That's kinda where Christie and I were headed with it, but, I went ahead and updated it for this week, and I'll just wait now again until like the beginning of December again to deal with it. You have just the numbers, really no changes there. The ARPA yes sheet is also unchanged, so I didn't give you another copy. The totals remain the same as far as what we're going. And we'll change those as we get denials and approvals, and we'll
Sure.
start to do that, but, we're kind of at a status quo right now on that, so that's pretty much it. And so I will take care of, giving Tanya what we decided, or what you decided, and, reaching out to those, and that's it.
Yeah, thank you. And we're paying her pretty good money for that, but next person that does talk to Tanya, try to see if we can coax along. There are 40-some requests in there, and we haven't received, one a week or whatever it is gonna cut it. She's gonna have to step it up a little on some of these approvals,
Well,
and,
and just, Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor, two things. One is, at least on our end of things, Mr. Misaki is the one who talks to Tanya. I may prepare,
Yeah.
like, I'll prepare today where we were in the meeting, and I'll send it to Mr. Misaki, just so that it's clear and we only have one point of contact. The other thing is, I agree, we wanna have these things move along, but the land bank request is sort of a big one, and it makes it a little harder to do. But I do agree that we would like it.
we got holidays, we got Christmas coming up.
Right,
I don't
I
want these
understand,
things to
I
drag.
understand,
I can call and ask for a tentative schedule.
sure.
Julie Green, just a point of, from reading all of these opinions, it appears that she considers all of Trumbull County to be a disadvantaged area. So, I would think that would apply to every single request. So, if that's one criteria that has to be met, I would think that that determination can be applied to all of the requests, correct?
Like, he's been the one that deals with, or
Yeah, that's sort of been back and forth. That's what we always have to ask.
Yeah, no, I just was curious.
Plus, you want a letter in your file for
The
case
state
there's
auditor,
audit.
or the stand-in for the state auditor,
That's
case
correct.
maybe.
Cause you know it's gonna happen.
Yep.
All right, Mr. Chairman, anything else?
Just, Alexandra, if you just give a brief update for the public on the meeting we had Friday.
Yeah, we had a, Corsa training on Friday. It was advertised as mandatory. I wanna make sure I stress this for the record since she brought this up. No, Corsa did not reach out to each one of you individual commissioners and tell you to be there. It should be assumed that we need to be there. I don't know how to make that more clear. And I did, as HR director, make it mandatory because I do feel that it starts at the top, and if our leaders aren't present, and if our leaders, including department heads, we're leaders too, directors of department heads, we're each a leader in what we do. It was very fruitful. We discussed FMLA, leave abuse, stuff like that. And then we obviously talked about how to play nice together. And that's no pun intended, that's what the training was labeled, how to play nice together. I'm very thankful to everybody who came, and if you couldn't come, and they did let me know, they sent representatives, which is okay too. So Corsa has been so nice, specifically to our county, because of, the trying times and the increase in premiums that we need to expect. They're allowing us, I did reach out to them, and I talked to Mr. Hatfield, who is our risk management director. He is allowing, the HR department to post the video and track people's, watching it on their own through December 31st. So if you watch it through December 31st, we can still get credit for additional participants, which is unheard of, and we graciously thank them for allowing us to do that. So one thing that I do want to stress is, and another thing too, why this is mandatory, and it should be mandatory, and people should take it serious, is this all matters towards our premium. So we get a certain amount off of our premium every year for attending these sort of trainings. Again, I hate to stress this to you guys, because you guys were all there, but I don't know why, people need to be personally invited to meetings. You were invited, everybody should understand that this was something that we should just do for the better of our county, period, and our employees. And we all need to be putting our best foot forward and be responsible for our own actions.
Alex, is there a way you can, heads that took it,
Yeah,
and have a list of ones that have not taken it, and then once they
Oh,
take it
yeah.
online, check them off the list?
yep, I have all
So if we get
that.
into mid-December, we know publicly who refused to take the training, or who didn't watch it and qualify for it.
You're
Yeah.
gonna email that out?
Well, I have, yeah, so give me a minute, okay, right? So, I mean, I am one person, and I'm, yeah.
I
So we
wanna ask Commissioner Cantalasa to Saturday that to have you do that, not for you to do it on your own or put you in that weird position, but as
Well, I
as
have
county
to do it in-
commissioner, I wanna see if there is something where we get money back. I think we need to be responsible to taxpayers to show them
Oh, I don't disagree.
who took the training and who didn't. And if they didn't, that person will be accountable with the public
Sure.
on why they did not.
So let me explain to you, last year, we got $72,000. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're looking at, I mean, a county our
It's a
size,
salary. Somebody.
that's actually, you're correct, as a salary. So we got $72,000 last year, and I hate to say this, but I don't wanna say sky's the limit, but you can go up even higher is what you can get off of your premium. So that's our goal, that's my goal as a director, is to continue to advertise these things, so that way we can go higher and hopefully, you know, compensate for some of the money that we're gonna have to be paying out in higher premiums and deductibles. So to answer your question, Stacy, just give me a minute. We just, you know, got the training uploaded. Philonna's gonna come help me get it on my shared drive, so only I have access to it. And to your point, Commissioner, I've already thought about this. I will be tracking by department. I have to for Corsa anyways. I have to be able to validate, that somebody took the training. I can't just say, yes, they clicked it. I have to actually go in and make sure that they actually watched all 2 hours of the training. Otherwise, I won't submit their name as being a participant.
Right.
Okay? Yeah.
Julie Green, so, thank you for arranging for that.
No problem.
Nick Coggins of our office did represent us.
Yes.
And I had let you know in advance.
Yep.
However, if it's beneficial for me to go in and take it and the rest of the staff, we will absolutely do that.
Yes, so I will put that out there. It is intended for supervisory level and above.
Okay.
So I wouldn't ever advocate for, you know.
Just me then.
Yeah, just 'cause that takes time away from everybody, you know, what they're
Yeah,
doing in the day.
right,
And
right.
it was 2 hours. It's a great training, but yeah, it really was intended for supervisory level and above.
Okay.
So I would absolutely advocate, once I put the email out there, I'll explain all this in the email, just gotta find the time to do that this week, and I will. But please, 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 for future reference, understand why these things are mandatory. And I know I'm
Right.
preaching to the choir right now, but I have to, so,
Yeah.
you know.
And Nick Coggins, by the way, did go over it with me, and
Okay.
he showed me the great handout.
That's
and,
great.
Yeah, I thought it was very helpful.
Oh, and I did reserve a handout, so I'll attach that to the meet with the actual, when I send out the video, I'll, you know, attach the handout, so.
Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor. I have a question as far as, maybe we can work to get more discounts. I don't know if Corso would be amenable to this, but you and I spoke, and I spoke to some of the other, department heads, public officials who have public-facing people.
Yes.
One of the issues that was brought up at the training was, this idea of a First Amendment audit.
Mhm.
So people coming into, the public spaces within county government and recording us. And, what our responses should be to that.
Mhm.
And as I said to you, and I said to, we had our data board meeting yesterday, so some of the people who have public facing, were there, some were not. But, the idea of making sure that all of our, public facing staff get training in how to respond to this, and I don't know if that will help us with Corsa or not, but regardless, I think it's important for us to do that. I think most people were in the training and know that a First Amendment audit, a First Amendment auditor is somebody maybe from the public
yeah.
that's proclaimed themselves a First Amendment auditor to make sure that we are allowing, you know, the public in and, you know, that they have a right to know. And while I'm certainly a First Amendment advocate, sometimes those people can be disruptive, to the business. And so knowing what we need to do, when somebody comes in, also making sure that we have appropriate signage with regard to
Authorized personnel.
authorized personnel. I do think, we mentioned it, and we mentioned it yesterday in our meeting, that we probably are somewhat more vulnerable than other counties.
Sure.
And so we wanted to make sure that we address that, and I don't know if
Um,
Corso will give us more of a discount, but regardless of whether they do or whether they don't, I think it would be good for us to have that training.
So that's a good question, Auditor, and I do report back to Corsa often, even if it's small things that we do, like little trainings that I send out to you guys. I don't wanna call them little, but trainings that I send out, I always copy Corsa to let them know we're still trying to educate our, you know, county on things. So I do plan on, I know you had asked, and I do plan on setting up some type of First Amendment audit training for everybody, because I do notice that we tend to work in silos, and nothing wrong with that. But I see a lot of elected officials, kind of trying to, you know, implement something on their own. And I really do think that we really need to try to work together to implement those things, because we're safer if we act together and we're consistent in the policies and what we're doing. So, I applaud every elected official for trying to reach out to Corsa themselves, which is a little bit alarming. But I mean, you know, it is what it is. I do have to remind everybody though, and I did have this situation just come up yesterday, the county contact for Corsa is County Human Resources Department. So trying to go above and beyond and call prosecutors and call, that needs to stop. And I can't put that any more politely. Please,
Thank you for telling me that.
we are in a very, I think I made this clear last week, and I will continue to make this clear if you ask me to. We are in a tough scenario with Corsa right now, right? I think John Brownlee actually made quotes on Friday. Those didn't come from me, those came from Corsa. Please do not go and try to contact prosecutors and try to get different opinions. Please don't try to go above and beyond. If you have a question about Corsa or coverage or something, go to county HR and let us help you figure it out, okay?
Julie,
And I did just have that happen yesterday.
yeah, Julie Green, I just wanted to mention that in the past, I've done that, and was told to go to talk to Sherry Barbosky or
Sure.
whatever. So it's good to know. So from now, this point forward, we just go through you to get legal opinions on insurance coverage or things like that for our contracts.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm gonna do the work for you per se, but I mean, if it's a question, what I mean is, somebody wanted to know why something, of course, wasn't public record.
Oh, okay, but so it's okay, I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure that we were okay, 'cause we do reach out to them
Sure,
directly.
there are some things that you're gonna need to reach out for. I'm talking, if we're talking global issues,
Okay, no.
or if you just don't like something,
And just like anything else, it's easy to have a point of contact.
Correct.
It's
Yeah.
easy to have one head and one source to go through.
absolutely.
For all these, or else,
Okay.
all these
Or at
departments
least-
are doing their own thing.
Yeah, and I kinda
you know.
keep finding that a lot, so even if you just, I mean, I don't wanna be in your business really, but you have to understand that I do have to somewhat be in your business to understand
Absolutely.
your insurance coverage and
Absolutely.
other coverages. So if you could at least just CC me, so I'm
Yes.
not blindsided by getting a call from a prosecutor saying, why are they trying to call me for this? I
Absolutely.
mean, don't do that.
Yeah, I wasn't aware that you needed to be involved in those types, and I know you're
Yeah.
talking about a different
I am.
set of
Yeah.
information, but there are, there's more than one occasion where you would have to reach
Yeah.
out to.
And another thing too, it's a good point, Julie, so a lot of people, sheriff's department, even, they add cars and they don't think, I need to let HR know because we have to insure that car. There's a lot of things. We found 4 cars, and it's not a big deal. It's just making sure we don't work in our silos and we're more communicative, because I just got ready to redo Corsa. Well, it is a big deal, correct. Properties, I know
Yeah.
we don't think about this, but
Yeah.
anytime we add a property in this county, we need to know so we can make sure that it's getting added to our Corsa coverage. Drones, the drones came up. I didn't know we had 2 drones that the, sheriff's department utilizes that aren't insured. We need to insure those things. We have to communicate. Thank you. Not that I want more work, but hey, it is my job, so.
Well, I'm just wondering, I'm just thinking of the inventory that we do every January.
Yeah,
Do you
that's exactly what yes, it is
get
exactly.
all of that, and
No.
does that all get transmitted to Corsa?
I don't know. I'm not even sure who you're sending it to.
Okay, well, we send it to the auditor's office, I believe.
Okay,
So that would be a Kathy Wilster thing.
okay,
She does
so
the
good, this
asset
is great
tag.
conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, and
something
I'll
else to
pull
look into.
Kathy aside,
Okay.
we'll get it, make
Very
sure
good.
we've got the communication. Yeah, that's since I've come into office, that I've said left hand, right hand, all the time, left hand, right hand.
Yeah.
We don't always know.
But
We're getting there, yeah, I guess I can't,
But sometimes you're afraid to ask questions because you get smacked.
or it opens another can of worms, but that's okay, I'm okay with can of
promise
worms, as
never
long as we figure it out.
That's usually the time I shut that
Julie, I
down.
promise never to smack you, I promise.
Oh, I've been smacked a lot in my life.
Note that. for
Most of the
record.
time, it's been my fault for being,
I can't stress,
youngstown.
yeah, I just can't stress enough how I think people just look at Corsa and think it's just insurance, It's way more than that. I think we're
Yeah.
all starting to realize that right now and, with everything we have going on. It's a full-time job, so just make
Yeah.
sure, if anything from Corsa comes out, it's important. So
Yeah.
please attend it, or please, address that email, or whatever you need to do. Is that enough for you, Commissioner Malloy?
That is perfect.
I know you think I'm doom and gloom, so.
No, it's necessary evil.
Yep.
I just wanna know,
I don't think so, but he keeps telling me I'm doom and gloom.
and I think, like you said, we owe it to the people to know who's taking the training and who's not, because there are some offenders that we've had this year
I'll take
in a
it.
couple of different departments.
Oh, I know. No, you're not.
And I was just a little upset that we paid out a few lawsuits, and some of the people that were involved in those lawsuits were not here, and that, to me, I thought they should've been in the front row, and
Great.
I felt like we were in detention for other people's sins somewhat, but.
Well, and you will have that a lot.
Agreed.
I'm not saying that's fair, that is life, but at some point, we all have to be the bigger, better people and just continue to put on the best face for this county and its employees.
Commissioner Cantalay said,
Yeah.
we had the, transportation meeting last week after the regular meeting, and the one consensus is, who's reaching out to Warren to talk about the cost share on the $300,000?
I thought Michael Salamone was, and I made it clear to him, and I will do that again, but, if he would like me to be there with him as one commissioner, I would be happy to, if you'd like to.
I think with this one here, can you
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
assist with Mike on that?
Sure,
To make sure that we do reach out to them to see where they stand on it?
sure.
Because I
I
saw
I will call
news
Mike after
article
the
about
meeting, yeah.
I saw a news article about it, and it made me think, I'm like, we really didn't assign who was doing that, but you and I both made comments as to
Right.
thinking they should pay.
Right.
So I don't wanna make comments that other people gotta,
Agreed.
cash checks to our mouths, so we need to follow up on that, and
Sure.
if you can handle it, that would be
That's fine,
appreciated. Okay, that's all I got for
that's all I got.
this meeting. Look forward to a good agenda, a good meeting tomorrow. We do have a transportation meeting tomorrow. The time has not yet been
No,
totally set yet, which we need to, because
I texted
we gotta
him.
have 24 hours
I
to
did
get the
text
meeting in.
him earlier and let him know that I could do 1:30, so I think it's probably gonna be 1:30, but I didn't hear anything back from him yet.
Who are you
Okay.
looking for, Nick, or?
Yeah,
Well, Nick was good, I think. Jim Kinnick said 1:30. I said
Right.
1 or 1:30. You said 1:30.
yeah.
So we need Nick, I guess, is the one we're waiting to see if he can do the 1:30.
I think, yes, and
And Randy Smith did say yes, he was available, but he didn't, not for the new time
I
zone.
haven't looked at my email, 'cause I
And
don't
Chuck
get it on
George
my-
said yes,
I
he
don't
was
get it
good.
on my phone, so he may have already set it and sent it out, and I just don't know it.
So it's a TID meeting, not a
Yeah,
transportation?
yes.
Okay.
Chuck George says still works for me at 1 or 1:30.
Yeah.
Nick
I don't-
Coggins.
You wanna know 1:30?
1:30, and if he could set that now, so we can let the media know it's 1:30 tomorrow.
Yeah. He may have already done that, I texted him early in the,
And who's notifying the media, him or?
he is,
Okay,
he said he would for this one,
okay.
so that's why I'm not,
Yeah, just remind him,
yeah.
tell him we want 1:30 now, to redo the email to everybody and notify the media by 1:30 today that it's 1:30 tomorrow.
So it has to be before 1:30 today.
Yeah, 'cause it's a special meeting, we need to do 24 hours notice.
Got T-minus, an hour, 45 minutes, no, an hour and 15,
And it's here?
can't do that.
Is it gonna be here?
Yeah.
My phone, when I go to check email, that thing just keeps popping up, I'm gonna keep canceling out of it, is there a way you can fix that? Okay, anybody else have anything?
I'll make sure it's done by 1:30.
Okay, Mauro, entertain a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Oh.